welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 11th episode of PS Comics I Love You, the official pop culture podcast of KRP Broadcasting. And we've got a lot of stuff to get to. So first, let's get the introductions, and we got a big old announcement to make. He is to my left, to my right. Doesn't matter. He's the guy next to me in the box. He is the Dark King, J.R. Kambakungan.
How y'all doing? Hey, oh my gosh, you actually got that right. Wow,
there
man.
You go. And I am the voice of reason, Kevin Pillow. You can find JR at also not JR Comics 42.
Yep. On Instagram. And you can also find him
at Voice of Reason 23 on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can find our podcast now on Facebook and Instagram at PS Comics I Love You. And then on Twitter, it's at PS Comics I Love the letter U. Again, couldn't spare two more characters, but whatever. We'll take what we can get.
Yep.
Now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, we have one more thing to add to the podcast. First and foremost, so thank you everyone who has watched our podcast here on YouTube for the last 10 episodes.
Thank you.
And we will continue to add the visual element to our podcast here on YouTube because it has been such a huge success. But we have finally relented to the many requests to add an audio form to our podcast so people can listen to us on the go. Because not everybody has YouTube Premium. So we have now available, you can search us out, PS Comics, I Love You on Anchor. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and we're proud to announce finally on Google. That came on Thursday. So we got that going. And you can also find us on all kinds of other podcast platforms, all the major ones, like I think it was like Radio FM. I don't know. There's all kinds
Anchor.
of
Yeah. So thank you very much, guys, for just sticking around with us. We are everywhere now. Hopefully we'll be everywhere soon again. In the coming future, we're just starting up our humble beginnings, guys. But again, like everyone said, he is Voice of Reason. I am Dark King, and today's podcast we're talking about villains. But before we're just gonna hit you with a couple of just quick news beforehand, just small stuff. Do you want to take this, or do you want me to take
You go right ahead.
Cool. So Lionsgate has finally confirmed John Wick 5, even though we all knew that was coming, and probably more John Wicks down the line. John Wick 5 is going to be shot right after John Wick 4 wraps up. And now Lionsgate want to do this, wants to hit these movies back to back year after year. So they're slated to release John Wick 4 on May 27, 2022, and then right after that, next year they're going to try and release John Wick 5. So as much as I love a lot of as much as I love my John Wick, I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, and Keanu Reeves, I think he's almost 60.
Yeah, but this guy's still working.
He's still working, but at the same time, I want him to work much longer. And I know John Wick movies are super, super intense, and he's also got Matrix movies coming up too now. So
unfortunately, we're not going to get that promised Keanu Reeves day. Like we were supposed to get last year.
Just overall great work. I have nothing but utter respect for John Wick, but Keanu Reeves, and I want him to receive more work at the same time. Dang, that man is working. He is working. He's like, to me, he's probably like maybe the third hardest working man in possible movies right now, right after The Rock and Kevin Hart, possibly.
Yeah, and he's one of the good ones too.
Absolutely, man.
Speaking of which, it should be noted. Speaking of the hardest working man in show business, I know it's not in the show notes, but you brought up a good name there. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had himself a great week this past week. Not only is he going to be, it looks like, at the forefront of the DC fandom later on this month, where they will unveil more information about Black Adam, but breaking off 15 mil with his ex-wife and a financing company saved the XFL, a little sports crossover there.
Yeah.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is now the owner of the XFL alongside Danny Garcia, who is his ex-wife, and She's also the president of Seven Bucks Productions, which is, of course, The Rock's production company, and has made bank in Hollywood.
I know.
Over
Hey,
the
so quick question. I know I know it's a tangent off a tangent, but then his ex-wife, like his current ex-wife, like his first one or second one?
his first wife, the one
Okay.
he has kids with.
Good.
Danny
Great.
Garcia was his wife that he was with when he was in the WWF.
Yeah.
And
The daughter, his daughter, right? His first daughter.
and his first daughter, and of course that daughter is now in down in Florida working for World Wrestling Entertainment with the NXT brand. Hopefully going to be the next big superstar down there. But yeah, they kind of grew apart, and it happens. The old irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
But she has always been his business manager. She has got multiple degrees and in business and finance, and so she is incredibly intelligent. They couldn't live together, but they could work together. And
Absolutely.
Danny is probably got just as much money as he does, and of course, Seven
crazy.
Bucks Production, big time in the movie, or I'm sorry, in the TV show called Ballers on HBO, which is a good show. You should check it out. But yeah, no, dude, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had a great week.
Hardest work,
just
one
fun,
of the the hardest working man in business right now.
But-
and also just a little side note.
that works.
I know, I guess. How do you feel about the movie Blazing Saddles, my friend?
Oh, one of the all-time greats. Not a movie you can make in 2020.
Absolutely not.
Especially in this day and age of cancel culture.
But they're trying to remake that movie into an animated series about samurai cats.
Interesting. I wonder what Mel Brooks has to say about it.
Funny enough, okay, before I go with that, right? So it's basically they're trying to remake Blazing Saddles, yes, a 1970s movie, if I recall.
Yeah, it was in the 70s.
In the 70s or so. And they're making an animated movie, and it's basically about a dog trying to be a samurai in the town of, if I can call it
Kakamucho.
Kakamucho. I'm trying to have my Japanese, like, because they have like syllables for that. But Kakamucho. But it's a town probably with cats. So I'm like, okay. And Mel Brooks is actually a voice in that series.
I see that on the notes now. Interesting cast. So you got Michael Cera, Samuel L. Jackson, Ricky Gervais, George Takei, Michelle Yeoh, Digimon Hanso.
Yeah, it's hard for him to say. Like, no, we know this name. He's if you remember correctly, he was in Blood Diamond. I'm pretty sure he was in Blood Diamond, and as well as
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He was also in the first Guardian of the Galaxies. Where
he's a who? I'm
Star-Lord. Yeah, who? Yeah.
He's also in Captain Marvel, and he is in Shazam.
Yeah,
he plays the heir apparent to. He's the old Shazam. Yeah. Yep. Good actor. I like him. He plays. He's to me, he's like and I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head. The guy who's in Ant-Man that plays the friend to Paul Rudd's character.
Yeah.
They're a serious actor, but they're underrated with their comedy.
Absolutely.
And so now I know who it is. I was thinking of somebody else, and then I'm like, no, I know exactly who that is. It should be interesting. Cartoons. Animation has come a long way. I cannot recommend enough, and it should be noted that you no longer have to have DC Universe to enjoy this show. Seasons 1 and Season 2 of Harley Quinn are now available on HBO Max, so you don't have to have. You do not have to have DC Universe to enjoy the last 2 episodes. I think the days of DC Universe are slowly dying.
Yeah.
I see a refresh in the very near future for DC Universe. They do need, even though they're teamed up with Comixology, they do need a platform similar to Marvel Unlimited. For those who don't know what Marvel Unlimited is, it's about $100 a year, and you can digitally read, I'd say 80 to 90% of all of Marvel's back catalog of books, from early Silver Age to most modern books. When books go to digital, when they get released, like when there's new comic book day, they get released digitally on Marvel.com, though that's not true anymore. It's strictly just through their Marvel app. Marvel.com, you can't do the reading of the books anymore. You have to go to Comixology. I know it's all kind of interwebbed.
It's weird. I know.
But Marvel Unlimited gives you unlimited access to digital forms of comic books dating back to early Silver Age. They don't have a lot of Golden Age books. They do have some. I think it's because they have to find a way to safely digitize old comic books into a digital form. Now, and before we move on, most books, use you for an example, JR, you worked on a comic book for an issue or two with our friends over at 111 Press, but a lot of stuff is drawn and edited digitally. Maybe not 111 Press, but Marvel and DC and Boom and all the big hitters do all their books. True. A guy like what's your buddy's name that you like for that does Batman? I can't think of his name. Well, there's a bunch of guys, but they'll sit there and they'll sketch, they'll draw a picture, but when they submit it to DC, they have to put it in digital form. And that was one of the cool things in watching the documentary on oh my gosh, I'm just really terrible with names today. The guy who did Spawn.
McFarlane.
Yep. I keep saying I want to say McPherson. It's not right. McFarlane, you see him, and he's doing every panel on like a gigantic iPad, and he submits it off to DC, and they digitize. So everything's easily digitized now. But
back in the way how we did it, it was very much old school. It still kind of is done today the same way, where you have this huge canvas paper and you create your own huge block that could basically fit into I think it's a 16 by 9 page, or is it more now? It's something I forgot the page. Yeah, and so that's how. Shout out to Andrew Yeager. Shout out to Andrew Yeager, our artist.
Drew is amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing, dude. The artist for 111 Press, he has basically all of the original prints per se off all the issues right now, and so you have this guy who's basically have this huge canvas paper, writing or just drawing. Actually, I guess you could say inking or just having the original pencils to this, and you'd have that, and he would scan that huge paper. He scanned that huge paper onto a scanner that he bought, and we would work off of that basically. And then we would then manipulate the speech bubbles and everything else digitally. But
so for those who don't know, that we've showed these before. I'll kind of take the backdrop off for a second here. It's easier. This is kind of this is a page from a Teen Titans book from a few years ago. So this is what JR is talking about. You still sketch it out, you do the panels and stuff like that, and then you scan this in and submit it to Marvel. But like a guy like McFarlane, he will sometimes do an old-fashioned way version of this, or he will go on his big tablet and he'll do it digitally and then hit submit and send it off to...
The dude makes millions. Yeah, McFarlane, like, if you're on that level, I still do know that, Jim Lee still does it whenever he's able to do some art. Yeah. But, those guys now, they are definitely using more digital art than anything else now. And that's fine. You get stuff done easier. It's faster. The tools to making that type of digital art now is much more is much more easier, as well as much more intuitive to use. And so you could definitely can easily create a couple pages in a day or so.
By the way,
in a couple of days.
To show you a little Drew Yeager sample, shout out to Drew, and we will get his, if I remember to do it, I'll put it down here, his comic book Instagram page. But this is a Drew Yeager original that he did for me. And of course, it is my favorite character, Gwenpool, wielding the Infinity Gauntlet. She's like, oh, so I just snapped my fingers, right? Drew is, and he did, it was funny. Quick backstory on that one. Drew did that at an event at at the asylum.
We were drunk at the time.
There may have been some adult beverages consumed that evening. And I asked him, because he was doing, and I walked past him, like, dude, Drew, what are you doing sketching? He's like, bro, we've been sitting here sketching all night. What you want me to draw? I said, how many have you had? Oh, I've had a few. I want you to sketch me Gwenpool with the Infinity Gauntlet. He's like, I like it. So like a week later, he sends me, he goes, hey,
He sent you something else.
he goes, hey bro, let me know what you think of this this sketch I did for you. And he sends me Gwenpool up like Captain Morgan style, foot up on a rock, and she's got a Gatling gun
That's
about
right,
12 feet long or something. It's ridiculous. I mean, just bullet casings flying everywhere. I unfortunately did not get my hands on that original. I may still buy that original off him. He still has that. If I could find, let me see if I can find the sketch of it. He sent me a digital copy of it.
Yeah, that one was awesome. I saw that. I remember seeing that one.
But that was completely done. It was funny. That was what, when I asked him to do a sketch, that's what he did. And then he's like,
if I remember correctly, go ahead. But finish the story.
Yeah, and then he goes, bro, that's not what you wanted, did you? And I'm like, no, I wanted Gwenpool with an Infinity Gauntlet. He's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I remember having that conversation then, right? Like, because I remember him, he was still in the process of doing that particular piece, right? Where it was, I saw it. Yeah, the shading for that Gwenpool holding a minigun shooting into your face basically was so intricate, and I absolutely loved it. And he's like, yeah man, it's awesome. And he talked to you about it like, oh, it's totally the wrong one. I had so much to drink. I drunk so much that day. I completely forgot.
It was insane. Yeah. But it was like, it was one of those deals like you shoot, I thought I had it somewhere. Oh, you know what? Because Drew didn't send it to me. I gotta
he sent you a picture. You sent you a picture.
It was Cintas. Adam Cintas is one that sent it to me. So here, let me get it set up for you here. I'll do a little screenshot from the iPhone here.
And shout out to Adam as well, man. He's also the owner of 111 Press.
So, okay, hold on.
I know your password. I don't.
That's what I was worried about when I'm sitting there typing it. That is the that's the picture I was talking about. He's just like, this is what he got from, bro, I want you to draw Gwenpool with an Infinity Gauntlet. Well, apparently that's the Infinity Gatling gun. But that's our buddies Adam Cintas and Drew Yeager.
Andrew Yeager.
You know,
big ups to them, man.
Yeah, big ups. They're living the dream. I mean, I know it's tough right now, but you know, hey, they're doing what we've all wanted to do when we were kids and draw and write for comic books. So again, shout outs to them.
Also, another news then, just keep it going down.
Yeah, we'll keep it going real quick because we got villains to get to.
I know. Actually, just to kind of stay in the same spirit of like just art and concept art. Did you guys see that new Charlie Wen? Charlie Wen, I think you can put it up, man. Charlie Wen is actually one of the amazing artists, concept artists for Marvel Studios. So he's one of the guys that, you know, that creates the new costumes. What does Captain Marvel, Captain America, Iron Man, what they look like on screen? I'm pretty sure y'all have seen a lot of his like concept art already that he's been doing in the last couple of years now. And so he made one just recently. Now this isn't necessarily like more so just to show, you know, that he's a great artist. It's more so to show that just under speculation, because that right there is Dr. Doom, right? Dr. Doom, who's possibly slated to be in in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the next couple of years.
With the Infinity Gauntlet.
With the Infinity Gauntlet, right? That's freaking cool, right? This is old school Doom. This is concept, right? But the one thing I really want to look at, right, is what he said. What Charlie Wen said. Now, granted, you can take a grain of salt, right? But if you could just put down to, I think the comments right there. Didn't spend time redesigning him for the big screen. Just want to throw out fun, a fun what if. So I know that maybe this kind of just like, you know, kind of just throwing stuff, you know, maybe just throwing some darts on the wall or something like that, but didn't spend time redesigning him for big screen. Meaning that he's already in the process of possibly being in the process already of having Dr. Doom in the big screen.
Or we both are missing the clue right in front of our face. What is scheduled to come out for Disney Plus in the summer of 2021? Animated series called
What If?
What If? What if, now that they own the rights, what if Doctor Doom was the owner of the Infinity Gauntlet, not Thanos? So, by the way, big shout out to Marvel Studios and Disney Plus for coming up with an amazing concept of of their first animated feature or animated series for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because we all know, I mean, they've done a great job. They've got the features down. They've got the big movies down. They got the Avengers down. They got all that stuff down. The TV side, they're still working on, but tell them small stories. They did the one shots, which is again a comic book thing. So now that they're gonna dive into doing what if starting next year, and I know that the first episode is what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum, not Steve Rogers. And for those of you who have not watched the documentary, the short documentary on Disney Plus, called, I think it's called Exploring the Universe. It's available right now. It's about 15 minutes long. It does give you a sneak peek into the first episode of episode 1 of What If. And again, spoiler, 3, 2, 1. Not only does Peggy Carter basically become Captain Britain, but Steve Rogers becomes the first Iron Man, because Tony Stark doesn't create the Iron Man suit. Howard Stark creates the Iron Man suit for Steve Rogers. And it's very, and the concept of it is very much the same of the Hulkbuster. It's obviously Bruce Banner in the Avengers could not become the Hulk, so he needed to participate. So they put himself in the Hulkbuster outfit to become bigger. So it's kind of teased that Howard Stark creates the Iron Man costume in What If and gives it to Steve Rogers to become essentially kind of a Hulkbuster. So cannot wait for that.
Yeah. We gotta have a podcast about the What If, just the series in general.
Oh yeah, we gotta do a What If episode. Easily. And you know who'd be a great source of information about what ifs?
Who?
Your boy, the dungeon master himself, Mr. Z.
That's very true.
He owns, I think, most of What Ifs.
Yeah, he probably does. He has a lot of what ifs there. I do know that as well, just for kind of another tangent, but then there was a case, I forgot which universe it is, but then again, Peggy Carter also becomes Captain America, but then she's called something else, where she has a suit and everything, where it was under a battle arena or battle worlds. Battle worlds like series or whatever it may be, and she actually had the shield, but she looked like Peggy Carter, man. Yeah, here's hoping they get Haley Atwell to do the voice. So I'm pretty sure they do.
No, she did. She said that was going to be her return to doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is Haley Atwell is going to be doing the voice of Peggy Carter in the What If series. As a matter of fact, she's kind of their big star in the movie. Really? Speaking of female actresses, real quick before we move on to the last couple of notes before we get into the villains, did want to throw this in at press time. Marvel Studios is supposed to go back into production this week for not only Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but they are also going into production to finish. They already have WandaVision in the can. There was one other one that they were hoping to finish. I can't remember what it was. There are 3 shows that they're going to hopefully put into production this week. I want to make sure I get this right. I had it in my notes and then I lost it. It was 3 of them. One of them I was really surprised that was going into production this week. Okay, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki are going to be returning to production and beginning production this week. Hawkeye, which means that we are very close to finally getting the. It could end up being the worst kept secret, but it could end up being a total swerve. We are going to finally find out who the actress is to play Kate Bishop. Of course, it is long rumored to have been the young lady from Bumblebee.
If y'all haven't bought your new Avengers, man, y'all should buy it now before they get too crazy. Which they already still are, but go ahead.
Haley Steinfeld is rumored for over a year to be playing Kate Bishop.
That's right. Oh, she's freaking awesome. I love it then.
So it's like the worst kept secret we're supposed to find out this week when Hawkeye goes into production. Like I said, WandaVision is in the can. They're hoping to release it alongside with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That is supposed to go into production hopefully this fall, alongside with the sequel to basically Spider-Man 3. So
Yeah. So thoughts real quick. As has been noted that we have, if Haley Steinfeld, or when Haley Steinfeld is going to enter the MCU, would you rather have her play Kate Bishop or have her play Iron Man's daughter? Because
you already have technically someone
yeah,
who plays who has been casted to play Iron
as
Man, Tony Stark's
yeah,
older daughter.
yeah,
It was
yeah, I forgot
cut.
her name. Yeah,
It was cut from the scene.
yeah,
Supposedly they still have her under contract
mm-hmm.
and may keep her canonly the older version of I can't think of the character's name.
I'm
Anyways,
trying to find it right now.
because I believe that technically Iron Man's daughter in the comic books becomes a character, or is it Iron Lad or something like that, or
something like that. It's let me see. It's I'm trying to find the actress's name as well. And granted, like I thought the actress was gonna be cool. Like I seen some of her recent stuff, and this is not to pit Haley Steinfeld and this actress against each other. More female characters within this, because a lot of the characters that are gonna be the new Avengers are female, prominent female. But let me see. I forgot her name, dude. She's in a bunch of Netflix stuff right now. Was it 9 Reasons Why, 8 Reasons Why, I think so, or 13 Reasons Why?
yeah, I think she was in
that one.
13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, she was Hannah Baker. She played Hannah Baker in that movie, in that series, as well as she's in another one called Cursed right now.
Okay, let's see.
Try to find her right now.
Catherine Langford.
There you go, Kathleen Langford. And I just blanked on the daughter's name, honestly.
Oh, she was also in Knives Out.
She was.
Yeah, she's the lead.
I totally forgot.
She's one of the lead actresses.
I totally forgot about.
She's the granddaughter.
That's right, she was.
Yeah, so she is Morgan. She plays the older version of Morgan Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And her scene was cut, and there is still talk though, because she has such a oh my goodness,
a young following.
Yeah, that she's kind of a big thing, that she can still carry a movie, because they are very much interested in doing the Young Avengers. And there is, though not official word, there's talk about doing Champions later down the road. But that's a wait and see to see if Miss Marvel does well.
I mean, at this, I understand that they should have some form of Iron Man on there, but at the same time, like, yo, man, it should be Riri. Honestly, Riri Williams, and she's, I think, the last character made by Bendis. One of the last characters made by Michael Bendis before he left Marvel Comics. And so, yeah, like, I'm cool with it. It's just that, like, it's crazy how Marvel is kind of just having this huge demand of people who want to make a Marvel movie. Granted, if you're in a Marvel movie, you make money regardless.
Yep.
But then you have Haley Steinfeld, who was an Academy winner when she was like 13, dude, for True Grit. It was crazy. So you have her.
True Grit too.
Oh my, she was amazing, True Grit, dude. I've never seen such a young child star have that much like presence when you have freaking Matt Damon on one hand and Jeff Bridges on the other. So I'm like, yeah, like them having her, I'm thinking like, why couldn't she be Martin Stark? That was my thoughts. But then, regardless, let's move on. Just real quick, a few more stuff. Dr. Disrespect. If you guys don't know who that is, he's an internet famous streamer who I'm pretty sure we talked about, I think 2 or 3 podcasts ago.
Yeah, I was just saying, it was a few episodes ago. We talked about some of the
he
culture.
He was banned. He was banned about a month ago now. He finally came back, streaming on a different website, YouTube, and he came back to pretty crazy acclaim, honestly. Like his stream had a concurrent view of like 400,000 people watching it for like less than an hour, and then I think his peak was about 500,000 people.
Yeah, so I think he peaked at 500,000,
Yep.
but consistently at 400,000. I mean, that's
That's crazy. That's insane, especially for like just like less than an hour. And then I think he had like somewhere around like 12,000 people. Gift like subscribe to him for $5 or so for a stream. And so that's a lot of money for an hour and a half, for like basically an hour. And that's him doing on his own time and money, because he has to have the contract. He has noted that he still has no idea why he was banned in the first place. I still believe that it probably has to do with money. Honestly,
yeah, it was weird because I watched a little bit of the clip of his last episode. It was just really weird and
yeah,
kind of cryptic what happened that last episode. So
yeah.
can't say that I'm a huge fan of the guy, but he's a content creator, and
Mm-hmm.
you
He's a
know
personality. Yeah,
he's a personality. But hey, he hit the ground running with
yeah,
500,000 viewers, so not bad.
yeah.
Um,
That's definitely a way to get into, just to kind of cap for that. It's definitely a way. That is definitely a big D move per se, where you're trying to show these platforms like, hey man, this, if you want people to watch your streams, whatever, you're trying to get up there and like you're trying to combat Twitch with your gaming streaming, whatever maybe. Dude,
yeah.
I just had 500,000 people watch me for an hour, for
Hey, let's see if
basically
we
an
can break
hour.
that record. Let's see if we can get to 500,000 people viewing this video.
Dude,
Crash our
that's
YouTube
crazy.
channel.
Yeah. So that kind of just takes us all to think. Well, we had another one about TikTok, or actually about Tencent, but then from what I'm hearing, that I guess
Yeah,
it's
just to
it'd be
clear up a
something
little bit
else.
of thing, and this is again, we're not a news channel, but from the gaming side, obviously Donald Trump, President of the United States, signed an executive order banning TikTok, or putting a kind of a moratorium kind of time
Mm-hmm.
on TikTok, saying that you've got 45 days to get the American or North American distribution rights from China.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft is in negotiations to do it right now. But Tencent got their name dragged into it because they own a minority share in TikTok. And those who don't know who Tencent is, they are the developer behind Riot Games, Supercell, and other companies like Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, and
Yep.
other video game companies. Of course, League of Legends is their biggest get, probably the second largest game on the planet, behind
Yeah.
probably World or Call of Duty and Fortnite. And I think technically they
Yeah.
have they have almost a 50% stake in Epic Games, which runs Fortnite.
Creates Fortnite.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
League of Legends has been probably the biggest game the last 10, 15 years or so now. And that right there, like League of Legends tournaments, they destroy like like Super Bowls.
oh yeah,
They're
the
they
audience on
destroy.
streaming is huge, and
Yeah.
ESPN grabbed them and is doing some great things with them.
Yeah.
However, from what I understand, talking with my brother, who is an investor, so am I, in Tencent, out of concern of our investment,
Mm-hmm.
um, we looked into it. It looks like they kind of amended the exec order, and that it won't affect Tencent's involvement in video games,
Okay.
more so their involvement with TikTok. And so my investment is safe. I have a small investment in in Tencent, and that is based solely on what they have gotten done with League of Legends and what they're going to do with the Pokemon Company and Niantic later this fall, when they have Pokemon Unite come out on iOS
Right.
and I think the other video game platforms. Or sorry, I think right now it's going to be iOS, Android, and the Switch. Supposedly, they might come out on other gaming platforms, but I know that the Pokemon Company, Niantic, they have a very strong partnership with Nintendo, so I don't see it going on Xbox or Sony. So,
Ah.
but yeah, yeah. For those of you who are investors in Tencent, I really don't think, again, this is not a business show. It's not a political show.
Wait. Okay, wait. So I gotta make a comment saying what he said. Like, this is a new show. As you
Yeah.
your
Oh, I did
papers.
that on purpose.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is a bit show.
That's many years of working in TV news. Well,
Yep.
2 years working in TV news.
But on
But
to our main topic of the day, good
yeah,
sir. Go ahead.
is villains, and with
Mm.
we could easily go on to a list and talked about the greatest characters, as a whole, but why not narrow it down and go to really what you really and truly what you can't have a good comic book without having a villain. You can have Batman, you can have Superman, you have Captain America, you can have Spider-Man, but you can't have any of those unless you have the Joker. You can't have Captain America without the Red Skull. You can't have the X-Men without the Brotherhood. You can't have Spider-Man without the laundry list of great villains that he has. But this was an opportunity for us to talk about villains, and I know that JR, you're a huge fan of villains, and I know this past year DC has put
They've been cranking out. They've been cranking it out.
They've done putting out 80th anniversary episodes issues out for the likes of Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Robin, Batman, Superman. All the characters have gotten these big anniversary issues, but if you notice, out of all of them, what stands out the most? Joker got his own anniversary issue celebrating his 80 years in comic book form.
Yep.
And all the rest of them are huge heroes. Joker gets a villain book. So, and you said so a couple weeks ago, Thanos is a huge book right now. Was it Donny Cates was working on it, or?
Yeah, Donny Cates worked on Thanos for like his short run. I think the Thanos run went from 2016 onward to no, actually maybe 2015, 2014 or so to 2017 or so, I think. And yeah, he was in that run for a little bit and then extended after him a little more. But Thanos was
Donnie, real quick.
Yeah, go. I'll take over, bro. So if you guys haven't noticed, Johnny Case has a tendency of like take established franchises and basically like just put steroids in it and then blow it up and then put steroids in whatever's left. And that's basically all he's been doing the last couple of years now. And that's amazing. You see these crazy results of like Thanos be able to like destroy and beat everybody in the universe if he grows old enough. Yeah, like in the Thanos run, in Donny Cates' Thanos run of 2016 to 2017 or so, he had a couple years with it. He basically had 2 years. Thanos goes in the future and finds out that his older self, King Thanos, beat everybody without the use of Infinity Gauntlet. He beat everybody. And that's an insane feat to have because you're talking about, these. You're not just talking about the Avenger. You're not just talking about Spider-Man. You're just not talking about like Earth-based heroes. You're talking about the entire universe. You're talking about these higher like galactical bases. Like Thanos beat Galactus. He beat Galactus by himself, no Infinity Gauntlet. He beat the Celestials by himself, no Infinity Gauntlet. He beat the Living Tribunal by himself, no Infinity Gauntlet. Basically, this whole series could be summed up into saying this: Thanos wins in the Thanos run. He beat everybody. He made Hulk his dog. he made a savage Hulk his dog, and then he also made he had his own like what does Galactus have again? He has like what's I forgot what it's called, man. I'm losing my words, man.
His heralds?
Yeah, he has his own herald, Cosmic Ghost Rider. He basically gave the Punisher he basically gave the Punisher who's Frank Castle, right? He gave him some type of cosmic like abilities, and then he also became the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
And so you have this cosmic Ghost Rider entity who crossed over into the mainline universe, and he's now in the mainline universe. And that book itself, Thanos 13, was going for insane money.
It's nuts.
I'm still trying to find myself. And then, yeah, but you have this character, when he grows older, becoming King Thanos, basically beats everybody, which is insane. It's absolutely insane. So that's just one character. That's just what Donny Cates has done. Like I said, Donny Cates has a tendency of looking at your established franchise, looking at the history of it, and just putting steroids in it. That's it.
Well, let's go.
And it works.
I'm going to be using, just to throw to the notes out here as we kind of talk about the villains, I'm going to be using the IGN Top 100 comic book villains. Now, this list is from 2009, so it's going to be a little outdated, and we'll kind of throw our own
I'm
cents
just gonna
into
go,
it.
yeah. I'm gonna go by memory.
Um, I'm gonna go through the list, kind of real quick, and then kind of, I see Jr's top picks for his favorite villains. I'm gonna
I got three.
throw. He's got three. I'm gonna throw some out there as we kind of go through the list, and so we'll talk about the comic book form and some of our favorites and some of the ones we thought were some of the best. And then what we'll do is we'll wrap things up to kind of tie it into the television and film industry and what they have done with these comic book characters, and what our favorite in TV and movie form are. So let's talk about the comic book versions of these characters. Again, this list is from 2009. There has been some great characters of great villains to come out over the last 11 years. But again, these are kind of like, this is really based, JR, on the gold, silver, and bronze age of comic books.
Okay.
Obviously, the list was made in the modern age, but these lists are very much made on the old series. So let's start with the top or the bottom 10. This is 100 through number 90. So we start at number 100 is MODOK. I'll just read the 10 real quick, and then we can kind of comment. We got MODOK, Fin Fang Foom, Mastermind, the Violator from Spawn, Despero, Omega Red, Annihilus, Omni-Man, Parallax, the Adversary, which is an old Vertigo DC Comics created character from Fables, and Carnage coming at number 90, which I was like, whoa,
90 Carnage,
90.
really?
90.
Okay.
So anything like on now in those first 10 kind of jump out at you? I mean, MODOK is such an iconic looking character. He's like that floating disembodied head.
Yeah.
Such a cool character.
Yeah. Omni-Man is the right Omni-Man I'm thinking about? Is he the one in Incredible?
This is it's all, let's see. He's
the kid of a
former premier superhero turned villain in the Image Comics Invincible universe. Yeah.
Invincible, not Incredible. Yeah, Invincible. Like his kid is Invincible. He's the main character. But yeah, that you'll see a lot of specifically my picks too. You'll see a lot of like Superman-esque characters that turn evil, and it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. MODOK, that's interesting. He's pretty low on the list for me. Then Carnage specifically is very, very low on the list for me. But then they might have some bigger hitters on that list itself.
Yeah.
But Omni-Man though, he's pretty low for me. He's really low, specifically for. I remember reading his character where like he basically was like, oh yeah, I went to Earth. I'm from a different world. You're Superman. I just had the only reason why I have a child, and the reason why I'm only married because I just felt like it. I'm gonna take over this world anyway, and basically told his kid, yeah, so we're gonna just rule this world after being the good guy for so long. It's kind of crazy, dude. But yeah.
Going through into the 80s, we've got Shade, who looks like he's a Flash villain. Hunter Rose, who is let's see, that is looks like it's a Batman villain. Not familiar with the character. Then we've got Electro, one of the aforementioned Spider-Man villains. The next one is, I almost forgot about this. This is a good pick, and you got to think about when this list was made in 2009. This was the most evil character probably in this comic book, and people forget that it was a comic book first. And the character I'm talking about is the Governor from The Walking Dead.
Yep.
And the Governor in the comic book, or sorry, in the TV show, is a jerk. I mean, he's
methodical. He
is despicable.
Yeah.
And he's methodical. I mean, the perfect villain. And I was like, good pull. But it should be noted, since it was in 2009, this was the early stages of The Walking Dead. I'll kind of a spoiler alert. Not on this list is Negan. So, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, Negan, obviously, probably the big bad in The Walking Dead.
In the entire arc, yeah.
But the Governor. I mean, even my wife, who's the big Walking Dead fan in the house, says that the Governor is a despicable character.
Easily,
a character that I know is going to show up probably later on in one of my lists is Mysterio.
Mm.
Such a good character. Quentin Beck,
Super underrated.
super underrated character. Probably one of Spider-Man's biggest arch villains. And I can't get over how well, again, we'll talk about this later, how well Jake Gyllenhaal did portraying that character in Far From Home. So moving right along, we have Dr. Light. Not familiar. You got Dr. Light?
No, I know who she did. I know who it is. Which universe is Dr. Light in? Is it the male version or the female version?
Because I know it's the male version.
Okay, so I know more of the female version of Dr. Light because she, like, that version I think turned good. I think it's like the daughter or someone, like they're related somehow. The Dr. Light that you probably have when you're an older guy, and that's a Marvel villain. I think if I remember correctly, Dr. Light. Oh no, is it the DC villain?
I think it's a DC villain. Yeah,
it's a DC villain. I just remember that I know more about the female version of this character.
Okay. Yeah, and again, just going back, we're just kind of going through this list real quick and kind of tying in with our own opinion. Don't have too much opinions other than growing up, going back on the list. MODOK was one of my favorite characters to watch. I keep going back up to. I love that character so much. It's so good. Coming to 83 on this IGN list is Grigory Rasputin from the Hellboy series. Then we got Soctor Savannah from Wiz Comics. Now that is the big villain from Shazam, of course, who was very well played in the TV, or sorry, in the movie.
I gotta rewatch that movie again, man.
I was rewatching it. It's a very dark movie. It was very much advertised as being like a kiddie movie, but it is not. It's a very, very dark movie. And Soctor Savannah, who's played very well in that movie, is very, very very good villain. I probably would put him in my top 10 villains in all comic book related movies.
Good.
So yeah, it is good. Number 81 is the Mandarin. Unfortunately, we have not gotten a true depiction of the Mandarin in movie form, though I thought that Sir Ben Kingsley, for what he was asked to do, did a good job. And obviously the Mandarin is the leader of the Ten Rings. He is the arch nemesis of Iron Man. And
he's gonna be featured in the new Shang-Chi.
Yep, he's gonna be huge.
I will say that it's gonna be interesting, specifically with like how society today's pivoted, in the sense of, like, you can't say certain words. The Mandarin can be looked upon as like maybe a racially motivated word. Definitely Oriental is definitely a racially motivated word now. Is seen that today, and so it'll be interesting to see how Marvel displays this character, because I can rant about this all day. The reason why they made Shang-Chi the movie is to basically get in the Chinese market.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Period. Easily, you have a full Chinese cast, even though the main actor is from Canada. And
that's what it was. We were talking earlier. It's not the director that's from Canada; it's the lead character that's from Canada. That's what I was thinking of.
And like, I'm all for having Asian characters and everything, but like, I'm Southern Asian, and I know what this movie is about, right? It's not more so for all Asia. It's for the prominent Asians in this totem pole of race for most people. But like, it's I could rant. I'm probably gonna rant about this in a future episode when Shang-Chi comes out or is nearing release eventually.
We will have to do. By the way, we have had some requests. I've gotten some messages to do this in the future when things kind of go back to normal and we get trailers and stuff like that. We will do some reaction videos with you guys. Where JR and I will maybe pop on real quick on Zoom and record us watching a trailer. I do know real quick, kind of a little break here, talking about the Asian market. It's no doubt about it. The Chinese market, the Chinese movie market, can make or break a movie.
Easily.
Shang-Chi in the Ten Rings is being done for two reasons. Number one, to get into the Chinese Asian market. Number two, it really was designed to get the Mandarin, which they teased in a one shot, that the real Mandarin is still out there. That of course was in the All Hail the King one shot. So that was the two reasons why I think, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. So real quick, Disney did announce earlier this week, and we'll have more information probably on next week's episode when more information comes out, but Disney did announce this past week that Mulan will go straight to a digital premiere, at least in the United States. It'll be available for $30 to rent. No other details are available, but it sounds like it's going to be similar to that of what Universal did on iTunes and stuff, with Trolls, with The Invisible Man, and other movies like that, where they gave you a $20 one-day rental of the movie. You can watch as many times as you want, but you only get it for one day. Now, I will say this, a cool thing that iTunes did, iTunes gave you a $10 credit if you rented Trolls on the digital premiere. They gave you a $10 credit towards buying the movie permanently. So you basically went $30 for getting the movie in theater and then getting it permanently. So I did take advantage of that. It is rumored that Disney Plus will be giving the same treatment to New Mutants and Black Widow. However, it is also said that all three movies will be getting a premiere in theaters in areas of the world that are not still affected by the coronavirus, much like the United States is. So
I understand why they're doing it, and granted, like, because the coronavirus is basically screwing everything up. And one of the biggest, just small tangent off of that, one of the biggest reasons why they have to be putting in theaters is, like, if they don't know, AMC is one of not only just its own network, but they're one of the hugest chains of, like, having your traditional theaters out here in America. They just showed that they were in a net loss of like $300 million or so the last quarter or so, because of people not going to the movies. And so when Trolls, I think it's Sony or for whoever it was, when they said that we're gonna release it on streaming network, it was a huge loss, and it was so huge that AMC said they're not showing any of their movies anymore.
Well, they have since, obviously,
and I'm hoping they rescind it. It's just, I know it's a reactionary type of thing, but, like, I get it. Like, when your business model is basically just having people show up at your place of business, and it's not that. And most of these movie theaters are taking a different route, or most of these movie production companies are taking a different route. It looks bad for the future, man. And that's to say that, movies already going to a theater, it is looking like on the decline as is already, specifically with streaming. It's tough. It's really, really tough, man. Here's hoping that the AMC will get some type of deal where, like, even though certain movies will be taking, that streaming platform outlook, hopefully there will be some type of deal where you can keep your traditional movie theaters afloat, basically. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, continue please with the list.
Sorry, I was like, let me get through the next couple 10, and then I'll let JR kind of put his 10 cents on, no pun intended, on the villain market. We've got Prometheus, which is from Batman. Then we've got the Mirror Master from not familiar with this one. But
Flash, maybe?
Yeah, it doesn't say. It looks very much like a DC kind of character. Then we have Lady Deathstrike.
She's that low? Are you serious?
Yeah, this was kind of Yuriko Oyama.
Yuriko. Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike, of course.
Mother Cassandra Cain.
And I always forget. Okay, Lady Deathstrike was in the movie universe. Is that the one that was in X3? Or was
which Lady Deathstrike you're talking about?
Okay, who was, because I know I thought Lady Deathstrike was either in X3 where they were in, or they showed, or whatever it was, where they
sorry.
It's where they show goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's X2.
X2, I'm sorry, it's X2.
Yeah.
X2.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about a totally different character. I'm thinking about Lady Shiva, not Lady Deathstrike. Yeah, Lady Deathstrike is a mutant, and
she has the adamantium comes out of her nails.
Yeah, she in the comics she was originally the Japanese wife of Logan. I think he
Okay.
forgot his memory or so, and then she was given the Weapon X. She was in the Weapons X program. This comics is weird, and that's where she developed like she became mutant, and that's where she developed like silver claws per se,
Yeah.
and she became a villain from it. But yeah, she was in X2, and I mean, it was great that she was in X2. She had a healing factor in X2 as well as those adamantium claws. I was hoping for more of a speaking role on her end, but then she was your basic grunt, and
Yeah.
it was whatever. And granted, you're against Logan, and then you have freaking I forgot his name.
Yeah.
What's that actor for Logan? I'm just
Hugh
brain fog
Jackman.
right now. Hugh Jackman, right? You're against Hugh Jackman, so you're not gonna have any lines when you're against
No.
Hugh Jackman. So it is what it is. But yeah, okay, good.
So moving on, we have Proteus, who is Kevin McTaggart, son of Dr. Moira McTaggart.
Mm-mm.
Then you have Mr. Mr. Mixpictic.
Oh yeah, yeah. Superman's the fourth the 4D imp. Yeah, it's he is a long-standing character
Yeah,
within the
he's like the
Superman
little,
franchise.
like a little
The imp.
troll looking thing.
He's a trope, but at the same time, like he is like one of the highest tier reality warpers in comics. Where like he's the type of person. He's basically like if when we see like we're 3D, and if we see how we see like paper and pencil for 2D stuff, right?
Yeah,
You can easily manipulate it as much as you want to, right? 4D characters like him does the exact same thing to like 3D characters like us. We're like, oh, he could alter reality to bend his will because like that's within his character. Or like we can definitely if there's 2D character like if there was 2D characters on the screen right now, we just basically just kind of scrump up the paper and just throw it away.
yeah.
He'll be doing the exact same thing to us. So it's crazy how he's that low, but I'm guessing this is in terms of like in power level, he would probably like be up there. He'd probably be the strongest one up there, honestly.
And
But
at the same time, we've got some big hitters still ahead of us. We're not even getting
here's
into that.
hoping.
So running around along, we have Magog.
Gog, yeah.
And then we have a name that I think that we will have our first like bro from JR coming at number 74. Again, this is the IGN list from 2009, so it's about an 11-year-old list. Nothing has been updated, but this has always been the IGN Top 100 has to this day is still used as a benchmark for comic book villains. So number 74 is Saint of Killers. Now, not to spoil anything, this is the first name off of JR's list that has hit the IGN list. So JR, I will let you tell the world about Saint of Killers. I need to go grab another prop for the end of our show. I'm not well prepared for this episode. So
don't worry about it.
JR is going to hang on this one. Be right back.
So for those who don't know, Saint of Killers is from Preacher, I was about to say Image Comics. It's not Image Comics. What are you talking about? Sorry, 1 second. I apologize, guys. Preacher. It is from. No, it doesn't show. Goodness, I am wholly unprepared. I am wholly unprepared as well. My bad, guys. It's from Preacher. It has been adapted to the screen a couple of years ago now. I think it ended in 2019. Great. One of the craziest books, man, that come out. It features Jesse Custer, who is a priest in chapel. I forgot the official story. I gotta read it again, man. It's been a minute since I read it. But one of the craziest things from that book, other than of course, God being a strip club, and that you have a preacher having this crazy demonic / angelic power of having people bent to his will. You have this basically cowboy hitman who in the comics was kind of just sleeping. Was kind of just sleeping. He was awoken by basically these two demons that were trying to go after Jesse Custer, and Saint of Killers is basically if you gave John Wick God powers.
Ooh, yeah, my
Like
attention.
no, yeah, no, he was John Wick before John. Like Zany Killers, before this whole thing, he was this crazy killing machine where he fought in the Civil War for the Confederacy, and that he was so good at killing. Granted that his origin story is definitely changed from the comics to the screen because Preacher came out in AMC. He went to hell. He went to hell, had a conversation with the devil. Had the angel of death was like, I'm kind of tired. I don't want to be angel of death anymore. And then the angel of death gave up his scythe or his blade, and they basically shaped that blade into two guns that will never miss, will always hit, can kill anything in existence,
Interesting.
and you will never have to reload it. And these were like the 6-shooters, right? And so the first thing the Zany Killers did was he picked up this gun and shot the devil in the head and killed him. Then he came back from hell because now he's the angel of death to the world, to our normal world, and he just obliterated an army by himself. Like every shot he hit everything, right? He tanked the bullet shell. He tanked the tank shell to the chest like nothing. They nuked him. He was fine. It was so crazy. Okay, so spoilers for the whole thing. Spoilers for the very end of this series. All he really wanted to do was rest. So God in this series was very much an absent God. He, of course, like I said, it was visiting strip clubs in America. He didn't care much, right? So Zany Killers went to heaven, killed all of the heavenly host, waited for God to come back, and for God to have his power, he had to be on the throne. And so Zany Killers was there in between God and killed him, shot him in the head, and sat on the throne. And this is one of the very first ones of like killers on my list to like, all right, this is someone who could decimate anybody. Anybody. Because his guns are basically can kill anything in existence, and so he should be up there. But then the Preacher series wasn't that long per se, or wasn't that it was very much a like control, like your start and your end. So this was just who he was in the series. In the actual AMC series, they gave him history, they gave him background. They didn't really go too far into like how strong he was or like how accurate he was, but you see how if you see that first episode, man, of who the Zany Killers was and like how his backstory was, it's kind of crazy. I will say that it's kind of crazy. It's definitely not faithful to the comic version, but then hey, man, it's AMC.
Not a lot of stuff
AMC.
is sometimes. But Preacher was one of those really good kind of a cross-platform or kind of cross-audience shows on AMC that it's based on a comic book, but it really kind of it helps itself to a broader audience. Yeah,
I mean, you got Seth Rogen, who was I think was the showrunner for a little bit for this franchise, and so like he was a fan of this. He was a fan of the comic book series, and so like he wanted this on the screen, and I'm just glad they had it. They showed as much blood and gore as possible on that. So that was really good. But yeah, that was my thing. Go ahead, continue.
No, not a problem. Moving right along, we'll kind of get going. I wanted to talk. This was actually based on the animated series Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. Coming in number 73. I thought it was kind of a fun character. It's Clayface. Again, I like more the quote TV version of Clayface for two reasons. One, the show is really, really good. Number two, he's voiced by Alan Tudyk, and Alan Tudyk is very much a pop culture aficionado. He's constantly at Comic-Cons and whatnot. Obviously, he's famous for being in Firefly and Serenity, and he's done other pop culture things. But that's kind of, he is a god. Yeah. He's at god status before doing that. Yeah. But he plays Clayface. It's actually a really funny character. Obviously, it's not a very much a drama. It's very a very R-rated cartoon. It's very much, Harley Quinn is very much geared towards the Simpsons, Family Guy,
Rick and Morty-esque.
Rick and Morty, South Park audience.
Yeah. just to say that like Clayface in the last couple of years, they try to make him they very much switch him to an anti-hero. If anyone has read the last couple of years of Detective Comics, Clayface has actually joined the Batman group, and yeah, they have done their best to basically kind of rehabilitate Clayface, and so that was pretty crazy. I know that they've done that since like year one Batman, in the sense of like or year two, where it was like Tom King's run from New
Yeah.
52 onward to and to Rebirth, and so they had him onward. They had that storyline onward from the Rebirth going into Rebirth, and so yeah, Clayface, man, he's actually really underrated. If one of the best stories actually that won an Academy Award, if you remember the animated series from the 90s, where Clayface, right, or
Oh,
actually
it's
no,
right. He
where
wasn't.
where Robin was found this little girl, right, and then she was basically running away from her father, and it won an Academy Award, and it was basically just a story about Robin and this little girl, and they found out that actually this little girl is just basically a simulation of Clayface. And you
Interesting.
always, yeah, it was such a like, for its time, it was such a very moving story. It was like, you had Robin, I think it was played by it was Tim Drake's character, not Tim Drake, yeah, Tim Drake's character, where he wanted to save this girl, and from basically her abusive father, because that was the undertone, right? Abusive, have wanting to save abusive children who are abused, right?
Yeah.
and and you see Clayface, you don't see him, you see him as the father figure, right? This big hulking character, but it wasn't Clayface till the very end, and you find out that she was actually just part of Clayface who had its own personality and didn't understand and didn't really know who it was until literally the end. And after she is, spoilers, assimilated back into Clayface, you have this crazy like kind of ending of like of what kind of like classify who Tim Drake was going to be, where he couldn't, you can't say everybody, and that won an Academy back in the day. So that's pretty crazy.
Uh,
Very underrated character.
Talking about some of these other comic books villains, again, kind of reusing this IGN list. So Clayface at 73. Then you have Sandman, underrated character in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. Kind of going rapid fire here. Thunderbolt Ross,
Mm.
good character. I think he's one of those kind of just a good supporting characters. He is a villain, but he kind of, I don't want to say he's an anti-hero either. He's
Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross.
yeah. I mean, obviously,
Mm.
when this list came out, he wasn't Red Hulk yet, but
Yeah. Yeah.
the other character that we were trying to think of earlier,
Mm-hmm.
the head of the Weapon X program, William Stryker, such a good character. He of course is the um, kind of brings Logan to the
Mm-hmm.
forefront and gives him his powers. Well, he already had the healing factor, but he gives him the
Mm-hmm.
adamantium claws. Um, such a, I mean, he is by definition a villain. He's villainous. I mean, he's just so evil and just
Mm-hmm.
manipulative and
He very much plays that like, oh, I do all these horrible deeds for my government, for my country type of thing, where he's the monster on your side per se, but at the same time he's still a monster.
all the three incarnations of William Stryker in the X-Men universe, all three were portrayed very well. And that does include X-Men Origins.
Mm.
That movie is,
That was good, yeah.
it was a terrible movie, but he plays that part of William Stryker that is kind of soft and manipulative, though
Mhm.
he is like, okay guys, kind of stroke your hair, kind of, it's okay, you're doing a good job, now go out there and do my bidding,
Yeah.
with just a little touch of just pure evilness. And uh, there's just something about his portrayal in X-Men Origins, again, to tie into the movie side. Obviously the version in X2 was
Different.
superb.
Mm-hmm.
It was very loud in your face, and then the just pure, unadulterated evil, because you could see it in the eyes in Days of Future Past and I think he appears also in Apocalypse, I believe,
I
the
don't recall.
younger version of William Stryker.
Yeah, he does. In Apocalypse, he does.
And
Actually, no, I think
he's
that
in
was in.
he's in
Uh,
Days of Future Past, the
yeah,
very
yeah,
end.
yeah.
And then I think he has a small bit in Apocalypse. But all three versions of William Stryker, and they play the role. Just each one of them bring the different version of the character to life. I just I I really liked the version in the movie. I think the movie versions are based on the newer version of William Stryker. I know that, and in IGN they say that he was at one point a televangelist, which is explains a lot. You know,
Yeah.
he's a salesperson. He
Mm.
wants to influence you. But such a good, just again, I think he's the epitome of the word villain, because I think if you think of William Stryker, he's just villainous.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so evil. Moving along, a character I'm sure we'll be talking about later this year, so we'll kind of go right about it. This Cheetah, obviously, is going to make her appearance on the big screen in Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman 84.
Christian
This
Bale.
is one of my first ones because, again, it's based on the television version I've seen, and that is Lucifer. Obviously, it's based on was it Neil Gaiman's
Neil Gaiman
creation?
is, yeah, that's from the what was it? It was DC's their site. It was they were called something else at the time.
But
Vertigo Company. There you
Vertigo,
go.
but the book was called Lucifer, correct?
Yeah,
Uh,
and just say I forgot the name of the French of the publication company,
Sandman.
the Preacher. No, the Preacher, because it was before it was after you left, right? I couldn't remember the publication company that
Oh,
did
okay, gotcha,
Preacher.
gotcha.
So it's Vertigo. Still, they're DC properties. But go ahead.
But again, I haven't read the comic book version
Oh
to
my
know
gosh,
enough of it, but I have told that the TV version does do it justice. And again, having watched it on the TV version, I think this is one of my favorite parts too. Of we'll probably have to do a whole DC
dude.
TV episode.
Dude, yeah.
The Lucifer made his big crossover appearance
DC,
in the
the last crossover event.
I know I can't
Crisis
Crisis
Infinite
on
Earths.
Infinite Earths. But so good in the
Yeah,
TV show.
it's
And
great.
again, he plays a club owner,
Yeah,
and
he basically just You want to talk about the TV version or the comic version? But
well,
they're
I'll let
kind of
you talk
similar.
about the comic book because I know you're more familiar with this universe, the Vertigo universe, because
Mhm.
it's coming from the Sandman universe, which, by the way, if I'm not
Amazing
mistaken,
series. Amazing
uh,
series.
I believe it's that one being isn't that one being adopted for
They're
something?
trying to.
Yeah.
They're trying to. And I know that specifically Sandman, who's Dream. They're trying to get that version up, but then, hey man, you gotta try to kind of rake in Neil Gaiman. And I know that Neil Gaiman in the recent couple of years has been more open to having his properties be brought into TV series now, because you had Good Omens being a great hit, American Gods being an amazing hit.
Now,
For
by the way,
me,
this is not the same Sandman as in
no,
obviously because this
not
is in that's in
much
Marvel. This is kind of quote DC.
stronger Sandman. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can have my own thing about that some other podcast, but yeah, it's a different series. But you go ahead. You're talking about Lucifer.
Oh, I was gonna say
Okay,
because
that's
he's based in the Sandman universe, and I just want people to understand this is not the Sandman that we know from Marvel.
No.
We're not talking about Sandman as in oh my gosh, why was this as in Flint Marko from the Spider-Man universe. This is a completely different
Yeah.
Sandman universe from Vertigo, which is now DC Comics.
Just think about Sandman in DC sense. We're like saying, like, that old song goes, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Yeah, he's that. He's basically the god of dreams. And so or not even god of dreams. He's like he's an aspect. He's a concept. So he is all encompassing of a concept. So he's basically always, if you're dreaming, he's in your dreams, type of thing. Like that's his domain.
I will say this, one of the cool things that kind of tie up Lucifer, and this is from the IGN website. being mostly confined to the Sandman universe has not stopped this character from making an impact, but it has prevented Lucifer Morningstar from making the epic one he deserves. But we like his less is more approach. Lucifer doesn't have to lie to make you what he wants. Worse, he tells you the truth and allows people to find their own way to hell. It is so true. He could sit there and he could say, "Oh no, you're fine. You're doing a great job. Come on over here." He'll be like, "No, come over here." And you're basically going to waste away your life, and you're going to hell. And then like, people go, "Okay," and come over. He is, and again, I think JR more the comic, the when it comes to these smaller, not as well known characters, in like I said, the Vertigos. These you are the god of these characters. I know the crossover versions of them, and that sentence right there is so true to how they adapted him for the what is now the Netflix version of Lucifer.
Great pickup, by the way. Great pickup, Netflix.
By the way, letting that one fall. I think it was on CW or something like that.
No, it was on Fox.
On Fox. Good pickup. It is an excellent show, and you know what? This is coming from a Christian. It's a good show. It's just well written. He's a smart ass, and I don't know what to say. And I've had talked to people that are familiar with the character. Yes, it is an adaptation, and some will say it's a loose adaptation, but it's very much so. And I loved the crossover with him and Constantine in Infinite Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was just so fun. And I remember I showed that scene to my wife, and she's like, "Okay, now we have to go watch all the Arrow crap and watch Crisis and stuff like that. I want to watch Constantine." And
wasn't Tom Welling in that scene as well?
No, that was I can't say too much about that scene because it was pivotal to for those of you who can't see it, again, spoiler, it was 3, 2, 1 having to do with trying to save Arrow, trying to save
that's right.
Not what's his name? I can't think of I can always think of Arrow. I can't think of the actual name. Yeah, him.
Yeah, I do. I had a brain fog, dude. I know today, but yeah, you're talking about Wally. I want to say not Wally. Wally West is a different character. Oliver Queen.
Oliver Queen. They're trying to save Oliver Queen, and they go basically. John Constantine takes I think it's Black Canary and Oliver Queen, and somebody else to try to find Oliver Queen in like the dream world or something like that. So that's what they tease about the Sandman universe, is they try to manipulate a dream world. Again, we are going to do a TV and movie episode in the near future. We will have to talk about the CW Arrowverse, Crisis on Infinite Earth, and we will talk about Lucifer Morningstar because he is such a good character.
It really is, dude.
One of my favorite villains as a kid, for obvious reasons, Mr. Freeze, coming in at number 67.
I was actually gonna. Do you want me to talk about Lucifer the comic series or not?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That was very funny. I know we're on a time constraint, but like, So okay, I'll try to go to really quick. Lucifer in.
And then we'll rapid fire the next couple of them.
Lucifer in the comic book series is much stronger, incredibly much more stronger. And I understand why they couldn't adapt a 1-to-1 from comic to TV, because Lucifer in the comic book series was basically based off of David Bowie. That's what Neil Gaiman wanted. Because at the time,
I did hear that.
Yeah, because like the most beautiful person at the time was considered to be David Bowie, and so Lucifer, canonically in the Bible, has been said to be the most beautiful angel ever, and so he's supposed and I guess Lucifer became more androgynous throughout the series, but then they saw David Bowie, like, all right, cool, that's David Bowie, right? It's Lucifer's David Bowie, right? And so they had him, but like he ruled hell. He was still ruling hell in the Sandman series, and you look at him, it was basically David Bowie with acid wings. It was crazy in a white gown or in a white cloth with like his skeletal wings like just dripping this like black ooze. It's crazy, and he's incredibly strong. Very much what the series from now Netflix has adapted from the comics is that Lucifer basically said, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to.
Here's the artist rendition of Lucifer.
Yeah.
By the way, that's exactly what JR was talking.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, Lucifer actually had his own series rebooted. They not rebooted, but like they had his own series. It came into DC Rebirth, and so I'm like, wow, that's crazy to have. So he officially made the jump from Vertigo onto DC main platform. So he had his own series in the last couple of years or so, and he is one of the strongest. He in DC universe now officially, canonically, supposedly, hopefully, still, he was supposed to be one below God, and his equal is his brother.
Michael.
Michael. I was going to say Gabriel, but no, not Gabriel. It was Michael.
No, is it Michael or Gabriel? Maybe
it's Michael. It's Michael.
Oh.
And
we are, by the way, to tie in with exactly what JR is talking about. It just reminded me that is going to be the focus of the new season, by the way, of Lucifer on Netflix. That is hopefully dropping this fall. So
interesting.
It is going to get good.
One of the biggest things that the series has taken from the comics is that Lucifer basically said, you know what, I don't want to be the devil anymore. I just want to live in LA and have a club and just kind of be off the board. I don't want to. This is my dad's game. I don't want it anymore. So I'm just gonna do my own thing. And so we've had this crazy storyline that I think Neil Gaiman has written that series, where you see this line. You'll probably see is that it's rather I'd rather rule hell than be served than I'd rather be a king in hell than be a servant in heaven. That came from Neil Gaiman, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that sounds like
that was in the last like 20 years or so, or no, 30 years now. No, 20 years or so. But yeah, continue.
All right, so we're moving on. We're going to rapid fire some of these. The next one coming in at number 67 is Mr. Freeze. Obviously, big Batman villain. Number 66 is talking about the Preacher series. It is Hair Star. Number 65, right. One of the big bads from the Marvel universe, probably a character that we will see in the near future in cinematic adaptation, is Kang the Conqueror. Very good character. A lot of time, especially in the recent books, a lot of time traveling involved. I know there was a lot of that involved as well in the new books. Number 64, kind of an anti-hero nowadays, is Poison Ivy. Again, prominently featured in the Harley Quinn animated series.
Harley Quinn's girlfriend.
And underestimated, misunderstood character, underrated character. Number 63, a character that I think has not gotten its just dues, at least on the cinematic side, but is one of the legendary Marvel villains, is Samuel Stearns, aka the Leader. You know him. He's got the big brain. His head. Lizard, number 62. Dr. Kurt Connors. Parasite is number 61. He's from the Superman comics. Amanda Waller, who has been portrayed well so far in the first Suicide Squad movie, but is a very underrated character. Very much along the lines of William Stryker, extremely manipulative.
Incredibly so. She is that, like, she is what all the the government-esque, like, bad character, like evil characters are kind of modeled after. Amanda Waller, man, is just like a mainstay in comics, man, for a very, very long time. But yeah, she I forget who played her in the Suicide Squad, man, but like it's they had so many great actors, man. They had so many great actors in that movie, and the movie itself wasn't that it was terrible.
It was a better trailer than it was a movie.
Yeah.
Number 59, the Riddler. Such a good manipulative character. I mean, just using his wit to
Viola Davis.
Oh, great actress. One of the few characters, one of the few actors. I don't know. Was she in Marvel?
Don't remember,
No,
but I
maybe
know
she was.
this.
I was thinking of somebody else.
Yeah,
So Riddler coming at 59, the Scarecrow coming in number 58, couple of Batman villains.
yeah. If
Um,
Riddler Hush series, look out for that one.
Hobgoblin coming in number 57.
Ooh, okay.
Dormammu coming in at 56.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, it's a little.
Sebastian Shaw, another very, very manipulative character. Of course, the leader of the Hellfire Club.
Mm-hmm.
Number 54, the Abomination. Then number
Really?
53. This is a character that I think you're going to see pop up. And for those of you who are collectors, you're going to want to grab first appearances if you can actually get this, or grab some books that involve this character. Coming number 53 is Sergei Kravenov, a.k.a. Craven the
The
Hunter.
Hunter. He's coming out soon, man.
Very much rumored to be the main villain in the
Mm.
Spider-Man 3 movie for Marvel and Sony, but is a very underrated character.
Very underrated.
Very, very. So yeah, grab that on Metallo. Is a Superman villain, famous in I think it's in Superman #1, his first solo titled a book. Superman #1. You see the green metal, almost like a Terminator looking body. That is Metallo. Is Superman could rip a cyborg into tiny pieces and use his fingers as a toothpick unless the cyborg is powered by kryptonite. Enter Metallo. So yeah, you've got a kryptonite basically dipped T1000 as the main main villain. That's a pretty badass looking character. Another very, very underrated character. Again, going to that. God, they just used to make villains so good. And this is a perfect definition of him. He is the gentleman of crime. He is the Penguin. Oswald Chesterfield Cobblepot, and of course we know him famously being portrayed in Batman Returns by Danny DeVito, and he is soon to be portrayed in the movie The Batman by I think it's not Colin Quinn.
No, it's another one. Yeah, I think no, it is. It's not Colin Quinn. It is a Quinn. He was
Colin
in
Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell is going to be playing the Penguin, which will be very much again
interesting.
It'll be interesting, and it'll be. I think he's going to be very much more of that gentleman of crime. He'll just sit there and manipulate him with his power of influence, which I think was sort of hinted at in the Tim Burton Batman Returns. But I think they focus too much on the disturbingness of him actually being Penguin-like. I still like Burgess Meredith in the old Batman 66.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova going to be coming at the halfway point at number 50. She is a carbon copy of Dr. Charles Xavier, but is a villain of. So that's it. You got me at that. Talking about Crisis on Infinite Earth, I thought it was very well in the TV version. Is the Anti-Monitor is the villain from Crisis that creates the kind of the ripple in the multiverse that kind of starts these. Mephisto, another devil himself. I go out and read the current run or the last 2 runs of Champions from Marvel. Mephisto is a very pivotal, small but pivotal villain in Champions, because he uses exactly what we always say, as since we were a kid to when we were adult. Oh man, to get that car, I'd sell my soul to the devil himself. That is Mephisto. You have all these people that I think Spider-Man make a deal.
I was about to say, if you want like for better or worse, one of the horrible things that Mephisto has done was that when it was during the One More Day arc of Spider-Man back like maybe 10 years ago now, maybe more. It was during Mark Waid's run, I'm pretty sure, where Aunt May was dying, right? And then Peter Parker was like, oh, I wish I had one more day with my aunt, right? And then he basically sold something to Mephisto, right? At the time, he was married to Mary Jane. a very happy marriage. And the thing that was, and then so his wish happened. Aunt May lived for a day, then died tragically after that. And then with the cost of it was his marriage to Mary Jane. That like just totally destroyed, like ripped apart the Spider-Man like fandom, because you had basically, you know, the epitome of like who we wanted together, right? Mary Jane and Spider-Man, and it's ripped apart. They don't know they were married because of a a lapse of judgment on Peter's part. And so yeah, that was all because of Mephisto. The reason why Mary Jane and Peter Parker aren't together because of Mephisto. You can say also by horrible writing, but you can just kind of just put that on Mephisto.
I will say this too. Another one, I was reading a storyline here. At one point, he pissed off Doctor Doom. Not a good idea. By holding the soul of his mother, Cynthia Von Doom. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's how bad of a villain you are. You took the soul of the mother of the worst villain in the biggest bad in the Marvel universe. He also took the soul and brains of Mr. Fantastic, his wife, the Invisible Woman, and even their son Franklin Richards when they screwed up an exorcism. So
That's right.
don't mess with the devil. He is going to screw you. Of course.
Unless you're Ghost Rider.
Unless you're Ghost Rider.
Who's currently the King L, or was King L. Okay.
Coming at number 47, the big surprise. The big bad, the Mad Titan. The yielder of the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos, in comic book form, comes in at number 47. Of course, Thanos made his debut on Iron Man at number 55 in February of 1973. Obviously, he made technically his
Logan's Run.
Logan's Run was his backstory. That's where it tells the story. But yes, Logan's Run is also credited as being his one of his first appearances. Thanos has one goal, and the goal is to conquer the galaxy, building a base on Earth. He and his army of alien mercenaries with a quest to find the cosmic cube, which has the power to grant any wish. Obviously, not only that, but he's also trying to find all the Infinity Gems, Infinity Stones, and snap half of life out of existence. A little bit more of a quote diplomatic approach by Josh Brolin's version of Thanos and Avengers. Easily, I believe in the comic book form, yes, Thanos wants to snap half of existence snap half of life out of existence because he just wants to rule the galaxy.
No. It was much more. It was much more selfish. The reason why he snapped, not even half, he was 3/4 of the existence. The reason why he snapped 3/4 of the existence out of existence was basically because he loved death, and not just death, like the actual like epitome of death, where death in both universes are women, and in this case, he loved death so much and wanted her attention so much that he killed 3/4 of the universe.
Which, by the way, Death was not impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's this running gag of like Death falling in love with Deadpool more so than Thanos. So there's that running gag.
But I do love that. I do absolutely love that, because I think I've read that book too, where just Deadpool is like in love with Death. And it's, I don't know, it's funny. We could talk, we'll come back. Actually, we'll come full circle back to Thanos here. Let's start cranking out some of them. I will say, though, number 46, another surprise, one of my all-time favorite villains. He is the man who killed Superman. It is Doomsday, coming in at number 46. 45, the aforementioned, the sidekick to Joker. She is the crime princess. She's the princess of crime. Made her debut in the Batman animated series. Now she's one of the top-selling villainesses in comic book history, and that is Harley Quinn. Sabretooth coming in at 44.
Wow, okay.
Deadshot at 43, I thought was criminally underrated portrayal by Will Smith in Suicide Squad. Talia al Ghul, who was excellent in Dark Knight Rises. Again, going back to the comic book form, just uses her feminine charm and manipulative powers, amongst other things, to manipulate Gotham and the Dark Knight, Batman. If I'm not mistaken, too, or did they not? Isn't that the
Yeah,
um,
the mother of Damian Wayne,
Damian Wayne? That's right. I was couldn't.
Batman, or
Um,
no, Robin, the current Robin.
the current Robin. Coming in number 41 was Mongol, another DC villain. A lot of great DC villains, by the way.
Well, DC, yeah, like I think DC in the last like entirety of the franchise have made like I think over like 1,500 just evil villains or so, some crazy number like that. They just had this huge backlog of villains they could just have. Okay,
Moving on to number 40, Baron Zemo II, of course, aka known as Helmut J. Zemo, the son of Baron Heinrich Zemo, became a supervillain in the Marvel Universe, fighting the likes of Captain America.
Captain
Of course,
Captain America, no, Captain Marvel.
Helmut Zemo, by the way, is the version of Baron Zemo in the Captain America Steve Rogers book that came out back in 2016. Of course, the famous Hydra Cap. Of course, he is when Captain Rogers is manipulated to think that he joined Hydra as opposed to the Project Rebirth. He is basically best friends with Baron Zemo. So.
Yeah, he's also if I don't know if it is Baron von Zemo or maybe his father, but then Baron von Zemo did make his TV debut, or no, his movie debut, because he was the reason why Civil War happened in movies.
And will be betraying Purple Hood and all in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, by the way, we mentioned earlier, is going back into production this week. Moving right along, 39. Completely forgot about this being a comic book character, and one of my first introductions to, the ultimate bad. Haruko Saki, a.k.a. Shredder, from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So good. Excellently drawn and voiced in the original cartoon. Yep. Done so well in the movie version, but Shredder in comic book form is, to me, Shredder is a smaller version of Kingpin. I think because he is obviously the master of the martial arts. He is he is a master of ninjutsu. He is highly intelligent. He made his own costume. He's very ingenuitive. He is the brains, the bronze, and the technical aspect. Like, you can sit there and you could be the 7-foot monster that is Wilson Fisk and be able to just physically manipulate another human being. But the thing about people don't realize about Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, is that he is trained in essentially what is back then, but is now known as MMA. He was Marvel's first MMA fighter, maybe.
Possibly.
Shredder's kind of the same way, but Shredder's obviously a little bit more svelte than Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, but I wouldn't more say. I would actually kind of resemble him more to if when Deathstroke ruled the Hand.
Yeah, which is technically what Shredder is based on. You're correct, because Kevin Eastman has come out and said for the longest time that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are based a lot on Daredevil, and we've talked about on the show before that some of the current writers for the TMNT want to cross over with Marvel and do a TMNT and a Daredevil crossover event, because for those of you who don't know, if you look at the similarities, obviously you have a young mutantly enhanced, not a mutant as in the mutants, but like he was manipulated by toxins. Daredevil becomes highly enhanced and becomes fair in the arts of martial arts, and of course the Turtles were. Then you have Splinter.
Let me actually clarify. Because what I meant, not the Hand, but more so if you had when Deathstroke was ruled the League of Shadows. And so for those who don't know, the Hand is actually, from what I recall, is actually a representation of who the League of Shadows was for DC. And so
Yeah,
You had this crazy, like, 3-layer type of thing where
triad.
the hand where the foot was based off the hand, which was based off League of Shadows. So
That's
it's
right.
that
That's right.
weird thing. So actually, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not. You're not wrong by any regard. Just more so, just like Shredder is the epitome of who Shredder was supposed to be is supposed to be Deathstroke. Deathstroke. I'm pretty sure it was because I do remember they made note of it with the crossover of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman when they had a little crossover. Which, by the way, you should watch. It's funny as hell. And but yeah, it was that weird type of thing where they made reference to it. But yeah.
But yeah, Shredder, I completely forgot when I saw this list last night. I was like, oh, I forgot Shredder is technically a comic book character. Now, the version of Shredder that we know, Oroku Saki, that we know and love in the purple outfit, the helmets, technically did not come from the Eastman Laird first run of the comic book. They actually did a comic book based on the animated series. The original version of Oroku Saki actually is they said is like an old goofball kind of balding guy. I don't know. It's not the character that we know and love from the cartoon, but it is in comic book form when the later comic books adapted the animated series version. Speaking of animated series, probably one of the greatest animated, other than the Batman animated series, one of the best animated adaptations of comic books is the X-Men animated series, and one of the big bads in that series was the Sentinels, who comes in at number 38. They were also obviously a big part of the Chris Claremont run in Uncanny X-Men with Days of Future Past. Number 37, Zoom, the kind of the doppelganger of the Flash.
The Flash. Yep.
Vandal Savage, number 36. Ooh, this has piqued JR's interest.
No,
what can you tell us about Vandal Savage?
He's in DC Universe. He is like he is. It's hard to kind of point him out. Like, I forget where his power stemmed from, but he was basically caveman, or not even caveman. He was like I guess caveman, but he was like before humans, right, in the species race, and then like he just gained immortality and just lived throughout the whole ages, where he just basically had money. He like went through the ages, and he just got he was incredibly intelligent, and he's lived throughout every single age of humanity, where he just built an empire for himself, and he was basically in everything, fighting against Batman, fighting against was in similar fights with Superman, had battles against the Justice League by himself. He's like one of the very first immortals when it comes to, like, DC Prime Earth universe, Prime Earth, like, storyline type of thing. So yeah, that's actually a really good pick. That's actually a really, really good pick for Vandal Savage.
We got number 35, Gorilla Grodd. Number 34, Bane. Now, of course, this past week there has been talk that even though the Batman, which is the latest version of the Cape Crusader, is back into production with Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne and the Dark Knight, there has been talk that another Marvel contracted actor wants to take his talents to the DC film industry. And there's been talk that Dave Bautista wants to portray Bane. They just have not been able to do Bane 100% right. I thought that they did a pretty good job in the Christopher Nolan universe. Obviously, the animated version's been pretty decent. The Batman and Robin version was pretty weak. But though he was the big bulky version of Bane,
Bane is much smarter than people think. People give him credit for. He's incredibly much smarter. Like, people see him as the big, brawn, like, steroid jacked up juice guy, but it was specifically in Nightfall too, Batman Nightfall, where he broke Batman's back.
Yes.
And as well as also the current run of Batman right now, like earlier in the series, where it was the Bane run. Like, what Tom King has done with a majority of the rogue gallery in Batman is so freaking, like, amazing. Like, really, really, really good. Like, from Jokes and Riddles, from the War Jokes and Riddle to Bane's franchise, to, like, right now where they're going with the Joker War. Dude, I don't know why DC is basically taking Tom King off of doing Batman.
Tom Hardy's version of Bane was very, very good in The Dark Knight Rises.
It was different. It was interesting. It's just more so people couldn't understand him because
Of
of
the
of the mask and him having an accent. Not his British accent, just him having a weird accent that didn't sound British at all. So
it's a different adaptation of it.
yeah.
Coming at number 33, this character legitimately, pardon my French, scared the shit out of me when I would read the Superman books back in the 90s. Coming out of the Funeral for a Friend and the Reign of Superman storylines in the coming out of the Ashes of the Death of book, you have the cyborg Superman. He was then known as the Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
In the Reign of Superman, he was, I believe he had the visor. Or no,
yeah.
no, I'm sorry, no,
that's Eradicator. That's Eradicator.
That was the different one. But no, the cyborg Superman was like half cyborg, half Superman. He looked like Clark Kent, or looked like Clark Kent Superman, but was half cyborg. And it legitimately, because you thought at first this guy was trying to fill the void of Superman, and then that's all he was trying to do. But he ends up just snapping and just becoming a just pure evil character, and he didn't care. Like, he went right after everybody. I mean, he did not care that he killed people. And I would just remember reading these books week to week and just going, oh my gosh, like, this guy is a lunatic. And yeah, again, firsthand reading these books back in, like I said, Action Comics back in like the 600s, and the Man of Steel, all the books back in about 91 to about 95, he was in there, and it was just he's just pure evil. And like I said, he just scared the crap out of me. And they just drew him well. I wish I knew off the top of my head who drew those books back then. It may have been Dan Jurgens, but he may have been kind of off and on. But yeah, he was, he scared the crap out of me. I was like in late elementary school, early junior high, and
Hank Henshaw.
What was it?
His name is Hank Head. His actual name is Hank Henshaw.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hank made his first appearance in Reign of Superman soon after Kal-El's death by Doomsday.
Virginia astronaut.
Yeah, he was half Last Son and half T-800.
Yeah.
It's so true. Coming number 32 is Deathstroke. Of course, a lot of people will always, it is the famed chicken or the egg. Who came first, Deathstroke or Deadpool?
Deathstroke.
It was Deathstroke.
It was Deathstroke.
It was Deathstroke. AKA Slade Wilson. And I've enjoyed him in the media version, in the animated feature with the Teen Titans and whatnot. So I think it's a fun character, and I was really looking forward to his
to Joe's run. Yeah. I will say I think right now my favorite version of the live action have to be the one from Arrow, because I love that. Right. I love to play it. Dude, I forgot his name, man, but like, he was in a bunch of other stuff like Spartacus, and the guy himself can act. He can act and he can fight. So like, that was a great, and just the character arc of what Arrow did with Deathstroke, from like who they were from their relationship to like who he is now. Great character arc. I loved it. But yeah, Deathstroke is I think in the last like 10 years now, since from when where this list was made, has definitely gone up in the ranking list.
Oh yeah.
He had his own run. He's been in multiple other things now, and so he's definitely higher up. I would say at least top 20. But go ahead, continue.
Speaking of the top 20, we're getting very close. Professor Zoom comes in at number 31. Again, this is the IGN top 100 list from 2009, but this is kind of the Bible for villain lists. General Zod coming in at number 30. Don't know much of that because I didn't do a lot of Silver Age or Bronze Age Superman books. I did not see the original. I haven't seen all the original Christopher Reeve movies. Yeah, I know that's where he was. I know that General Zod was in Man of Steel, and
it was a different distinction. I would say that General Zod, his character was a lot more fleshed out in the last 20 years or so, because there was that Battle of the Supermen type of thing where it's it's crazy having Superman as main character, or it's hard having Superman as main character because who can beat Superman? Well, you have another Superman to do so, and so there's like General Zod was much more fleshed out. I forget which run it was, but it was basically the one where a lot of Kryptonians came back to life, right? They had their own. It was like that. They had their own like small little like planet type of thing that's held in a different type of pocket universe or something like that, or something. I'm doing it off a shorthand, but yeah, it was. General Zod was way more fleshed out in the last 20 years than he has been in the last 60 years or so, since easily so. Like he was given a lot more nuance, and so like I understand why they had him. I understand why they had him be who he was in Man of Steel, and that's actually more representation of who General Zod was in the last 20 years. And so he's a much more nuanced character. It's just that he's not your evil Superman anymore. So
coming at number 29, Mr. Sinister, who is I know that they were talking about possibly again adapting him for a movie in later Fox related projects, but I'm sure he was a character that will probably be flushed out later. I don't know enough about Mr. Sinister other than what I've seen in the movies and the cartoons, but
he's an interesting character, man. He's like that one anime character that you think was dead, but he keeps on coming back over and over and over again. Like, yeah, he's in the current run of X-Men, and the things that freaking the things that the writer I'm forgetting my names, man.
It's
yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. It's not Kirkman. Who is it? It's gonna bother me now, dude. But yeah, the thing that the current writer is doing for X-Men right now
Oh, I cannot think of his name now. Damn it! Now
oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry, but keep.
All right. Real quick. We'll come back to it. We'll keep you.
Yeah.
You think about you find out who it is. We'll get going here. Doc Ock comes at 28. Captain Cold at 27. Which I didn't know much about, but then I saw the picture of him. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Kid Miracle Man at number 26. Again, don't know much about that character. Bizarro, number 25. Bizarro Superman. I loved reading about Bizarro Superman. He was so dumb and so funny, and he's just a very, very goofy character.
Yeah.
But he was one of those guys that would just get pushed around because of him trying to be Superman.
Yeah.
And he would get pushed to the point where he's like, why are you guys making fun of me? And then he would lose his cool and just go beat up people.
Yeah, he was basically your Frankenstein Superman. Oh, yeah. But so back on my original point before, Jonathan Hickman's run.
That's it.
Jonathan Hickman's run of X-Men right now, Powers of X, House of X, the current run of all of X-Men, or the mainline stories.
I think he's overseen X-Men.
The best thing that Marvel can do, other than, of course, giving everything Donny Cates, is giving Jonathan Hickman all of X-Men and Fantastic Four, which he's not doing Fantastic Four now, but he did an old run of Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I think he's overseen. Last time I had heard on one of the Marvel podcasts is that Hickman is running the X-Men offices.
Good, because it was Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is in the current run and has helped out Magneto and spoiler alert. I guess whatever. Magneto, he's both helped out Magneto and Charles, because now Charles and Magneto, they're still friends, but they come together and say, hey, something has happened. I hope everyone's reading House of X and Powers of X. Something has happened to the mutant to mutant kind, so we got to kind of band together as a people and try to figure this stuff out. And so Mr. Sinister's in there, and Mr. Sinister in the last 15 years or so, 10 years, they changed him so much. I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely freaking love it. But yeah, let's continue.
Number 24 is Apocalypse. I'm talking about Mr. Sinister, one of the most devious X-Men villains. I know that this is one of my brother's favorite villains. He loves the oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of the run.
Age of Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse. Great run. back in the 90s and stuff like that. Going to number 23, Ultron, one of the all-time Marvel villains.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, much like the movie version, created to be by Hank Pym to be a basically the superhero replacement. So he doesn't have to do that. They don't have to put themselves in harm's way anymore.
Yeah,
and
but
he ends up becoming
Iron
all
Man
knowing.
created Pink. Yeah, but Iron Man created in movies.
In the movie, it's created by Tony Stark because they introduced Hank Pym in a different light. But yes, almost the exact same way that Tony Stark and Bruce Banner create Hank Pym in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's actually Hank Pym, and I think at some point, I thought they actually did have at some point Bruce Banner actually does help out, but I think it's mostly Hank Pym in the comic book form. To the point, actually, that in the oh my goodness, it was in the Secret Empire series coming out of the Hydra Cap coming out of the Captain America Steve Rogers. Hank Pym actually merged with Ultron. So Hank Pym, it's like half Hank Pym, half Ultron. So it's like basically Dr. Frankenstein truly became his monster.
Yeah. I remember that.
Number 22. I think if this list was made in 2020, this guy would be higher on the list. It is Venom. Eddie Brock's version of Venom coming in at number 22. He's come a long way because really and truly, I think Venom is nowadays kind of an anti-hero. But was one of
the greatest adversaries to Spider-Man ever.
And is he credited by as Todd McFarlane credited? Yeah, he's credited for creating the character, correct?
I think so.
I mean,
it was technically he drew, but then like it was the Venom character was Spider-Man 300, and so whoever wrote Spider-Man 300, I forgot what. I know that Todd McFarlane.
You mean the book I dropped on a couple episodes ago?
Yes, if you guys want to see that 2 episodes ago, he did drop Venom 300, at Spider-Man 300.
You can go back. We actually have it labeled the episode where Kevin drops ASM 300.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Tom McFarlane is credited with doing that as well. That's the reason why a lot of people are having Tom McFarlane's signature on it. But then I forgot who the writer was. Mark Waid? No, not Waid. Waid was more recent. But yeah. Venom is seen more as anti-hero now, specifically in the last couple runs, even before Donny Cates' run. And but before that, right, like after he lost his Venom symbiote, he had cancer, and then he became anti-Venom, and then he got Venom back again. It's just this crazy mismatch of things that happen. But yeah, dude, Venom right now, his character growth, even though it's taken like 60 years, has been awesome. So
the next one,
Eddie Brock. Sorry, not Venom, but Eddie Brock.
The next villain I'm not too familiar with, but it comes from the Watchmen series, and that is the
Osmodeus.
Ozymandias, was it?
Osmodeus. He's everything that has happened within not everything, but like some of the major events that happened within the Watchmen series, right, in that franchise in the 90s, 80s, late 80s, happened because of him. He's one of the very first ones, specifically in that age, which you had a very methodical and thinking villain. One of the very first ones. He's not the first, but he's one of the very first ones. So like it was definitely like he could be set as a precedent of who Thanos is in the sense of like the MCU, like what is good for society type of thing.
Oh, gotcha.
And for what's good society in the comics is basically to set an evil octopus-esque space demon creature from space onto New York City, which was the thing. In the movies, it was basically the thing. Oh, let's in order to stop this Cold War between Russia and America, let's just set nukes off the world all across the world and think Dr. Manhattan did it, which was pretty close, man. So yeah,
we've now got into the top 20. Number 20 is Bullseye, the main villain from Daredevil. He also has come across guys like Frank Castle's Punisher and whatnot. Bullseye, No, never been a big fan. I just think it's too obvious of a character. I don't know.
Yeah.
Number 19 is Juggernaut. He says he's badass looking. He's got the whole
Yeah.
suit, and he's
Yeah. He's Charles' brother, and he got the powers of Zanduthu, I think it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's the step brother of Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
But Juggernaut is just, I mean, the way people have drawn him over the years, just is he's got to be an absolute blast to draw. If you're like, hey, by the way, you're being in charge of the X-Men books, and I gotta imagine that whoever's drawing in the Hickman office right now is going like, dude, can I do Juggernaut, please?
I actually want to add a point. When we were at Apocalypse is actually in John Hickman's run right now, and he's part of like the Council of X-Men.
Interesting.
Of mutants, which is crazy, like to think that happened, because that's just John Hickman's mind right now. But please continue.
So yeah, Juggernaut, I think is a fun character. Never has been given the right crossover, except for in Deadpool 2.
Honestly, he would be much lower on my list because I'm into more multi-tiered faceted characters. But yeah, he's a great like villain per se to have on like just paper and everything. But yeah.
Number 18, I think is an underrated character because she is a very complex character. She's been kind of ripped apart and portrayed different ways in the movies and whatnot. But I think that Raven Darkholm, aka Mystique, is a more complex, and I think that when Marvel Studios gets their hands on mutants and is able, if they're able, to do Raven properly, people are going to see that this is very much a probably one of the deepest characters that Marvel has ever made. Just to kind of give you a little backstory, too, people don't realize this, that she is technically the mother of Nightcrawler. And she actually kind of mothered Rogue, because people don't realize Rogue was very much a villain early on. I think, doesn't she make her first appearance in actually I have it. It's not a Captain Marvel book. It's
something else.
I think it's an Avenger. It might be an Avengers annual or something like that. But she's very much she's very much a villain. And I just, the more I think about it, I mean, oh my goodness, I can't think of her name now. The two women who've played Mystique. Jennifer Lawrence and
something Famke.
No. Famke was
oh, that's Jean Grey.
That's Jean Grey.
Yeah.
What's her name? That was married to Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
There you go.
Both portrayed her well for a commercially acceptable character.
Yeah.
The problem.
Go ahead.
I was say the problem with Mystique is, it's a very dark character.
Yeah.
And this could be an opportunity at the same time. If I'm not mistaken, she is, and from the get-go too, because a lot of people go like, "Oh, you're just making her gay to
appease crowds, whatever,
to appease the crowd." Really and truly, at her core, Mystique Raven is one of the first LGBT characters in the Marvel universe, in the comic universe, because I believe she is. I can't think of the name, but she's been long connected in a pseudo lesbian relationship, and I can't think of who the character is now to save my life.
Was it with Emma? Was it with Emma Frost? No,
it wasn't Emma Frost. It'll come to me. Maybe I'll remember later. But anyways, I like Mystique.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't, I'm going to bring up the screen real quick. This is a comic, true version of Mystique. Yes, blue, but very sinister looking. And she's got the skull on her forehead. Yeah. she can be the sensual,
Yeah.
attractive.
She doesn't.
Character.
She doesn't have scales.
No.
which is a weird thing to have. Like, I understand why they put scales on Rebecca Main Stamos to begin with, because like when they made her nude throughout the whole movie, which is weird.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Jennifer Lawrence, which I guess that was just the pinnacle of what Fox was back in the 2000s and onwards and now. And I would guess a better representation of Mystique was kind of similar into I would say maybe Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal of her, because just the portrayal of what Rebecca Main Stamos was is that she was kind of just a henchman for Magneto, while at least Jennifer Lawrence's depiction of her was like she had her own thoughts, who had her own thoughts, had her own motives, own like wantings and stuff, and so that was understandably so. Yeah. Also, side note. Azazel, which was an X-Men First Class, is the father of Nightcrawler. That's the reason why he
That's
can
it.
bamf
Yes.
everywhere. But yeah.
Oh, and I
Please
can't.
continue.
But I do know later down the road, she does have a.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he had multiple relationships with
and she's
both sides.
She's
gender.
she's a very seductive character,
Mm-hmm.
but people don't realize that she is very, very evil, very manipulative in the comics. Moving on, number 17, Brainiac, which I know they've talked about doing that character in movie form. Black Adam, the aforementioned number 16, the aforementioned DC villain from the Shazam, who's gonna be portrayed by The Rock. And I know that some people are still bitching and complaining that once again Dwayne Johnson, a half black, half Samoan character, is taking the role that was originally drawn in comic book form or done in a different medium as white. I don't care.
Black Adam was Egyptian. Black Adam's Egyptian. Let's just stop there.
Yeah, I don't care if Dwayne the Rock Johnson can can portray the character well and can do a good job and can make a bunch of money for DC and get them out of their whatever their limbo or whatever.
Yeah. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, other than like people, is the only actor right now that has not been in a Marvel movie, right? One of the only ones that has reached billions of dollars through multiple franchises.
Oh yeah.
Like let's just stop. Like DC needs a good uptick in having people watch their films. Having Dwayne is always gonna be a positive.
Absolutely.
So
code number 15 is Sinestro, 14 Red Skull, 13 Norman Osborn, number 12 Gotham City's District Attorney Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. Such an underrated character. I don't actually, as well known as he is, he's still not appreciated enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not.
Catwoman, more of a anti-hero nowadays. Still such a good villain.
Great character. Yeah, amazing.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people will define her by her looks and her sultriness with the skin tight suit, but that's part of what makes her such a good villain. And actually, I think that Anne Hathaway did a halfway decent job at portraying her in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm an Anne Hathaway fan.
Yeah.
Number 10, the Big Daddy.
Top 10s. All right.
Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin.
Yep.
Like I said before, the dude's drawn like he's supposed to be like 8 feet tall. He is the brains he has, the intelligence he has. I mean, he is a politician, but he can kick the ever-living crap out of you because, like I said, he's a trained boxer, trained in martial arts. He's
incredibly intelligent.
He's intelligent like nobody's else. He's manipulative like a politician. He's deep he controls the mob. I mean, he is the mob in the comic book. And like I said, he's basically like Brock Lesnar, MMA fighter. I mean, the dude's yoked. Which, by the way, have you heard about who wants to play him?
No. Who?
Most people, he goes by the name Paul White. Most people will know him as the Big Show.
Yeah.
Who is, by the way, a legit 7'2". I'm okay with that.
I
But
am too.
you
He
get
gotta have.
him. He's got to get the
Yeah.
chops. But
Yeah,
you
I will
know,
say, yeah, my favorite representation of Wilson Fisk is, of course, the Daredevil representation of it,
Vincent
which,
D'Onofrio,
oh my gosh, how they got him to do a Marvel Netflix show,
the
a
character,
multi-time, like Academy
award,
Award
just
winner.
the dude's an award winner from top to bottom. I mean, he's done
Yeah,
everything.
super method actor. And so they got him to do Wilson Fisk, and his representation of who Wilson Fisk was is amazing.
And to me, and it goes down to, and that's what separates Marvel from a lot of other genre stuff, is character development. And Wilson
Mm-hmm.
Fisk was such a good character in comic book form, and they adapted him well for that Netflix series. And so good. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot tell you enough. You need to go watch Daredevil on Netflix before it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 is The Dark Phoenix, another great creation of the legendary Chris Claremont.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no one's been able to do it right. Really and truly, the only one who's ever been able to do the Dark Phoenix correctly, other than Chris Claremont's original comic book run, would maybe be X-Men the animated series. No one else has been able to do it correctly. No matter what actress you put in there, no matter what writer or director you put in there, no one can do the Dark Phoenix. I don't know why.
Yeah, just for the simple fact. Well, here's the thing: you can't have the Dark Phoenix saga. You can't have the Dark Phoenix saga be contrived into an hour and a half movie.
Yeah,
You just can't. It's its own trilogy. It's legit its own trilogy.
Well, that's the thing is too is Chris Claremont has come out and said that if you want to do the Dark Phoenix saga correctly, it would take 10 hours at minimum to do it. So you're looking, like I said, doing a series, and maybe I just don't know. I mean,
Yeah, you can't. The biggest reasons why, and I still love Sansa. I forget her actual name.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the girl who plays the actress who plays the Phoenix, or who plays Jean Grey. Jean Grey in the last X-Men movie. She's great. She's awesome. It's just that you can't have her character arc be displayed throughout what it was, like 2 movies now, only two movies, where you have who she kind of is, and maybe they had some representation of it, but like they really contrive her character
Sophie
arc
Turner.
within the span of like maybe 30 minutes. Yeah, Sophie Turner. And so I'm like, you got to have way more than that. You got to have, there's a certain pull that the audience must have towards this character to actually give a damn about this character. You know, it has to be a span of like 2-3 movies.
Yeah.
So
it
is.
Wrapping up the top 10, we have number 8, Loki. Number 7, Ra's al Ghul.
Loki's good, yeah.
Number 16, Darkseid. Number 5,
Dark Side.
Number 5, Galactus. Number 4, Lex Luthor. Number 3, Doctor Doom. So now you have heard 98 villains across multiple platforms of comic books over the course of the last almost 100 years. You have 2 spots left. I have the list here in front of me. Who could you possibly think?
Joker's one.
Okay. Think about the other character, and you've talked about him already. What other character has not yet been talked about? And he is a multi-layered, deep, with a almost sympathetic background, who has not been named yet. And he is, I'll give you a hint, is in the Marvel Universe.
Marvel. Doctor Doom's number 3?
Doctor Doom's number 3.
Ooh. I'm probably forgetting it, man.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. Coming in at number 2 is the Joker.
Really?
This is according to IGN from 2009. Most people consider this to be the end-all-end list. They also did a heroes list. We'll get to that probably way off into the future. We got a lot of other things to talk about probably in the near future. But number 2 is Joker.
2?
A lot of people have always said that Joker is the number 1 villain. But if you really think about both number 1 and number 2 have deep, sympathetic, complex backgrounds that make them a good villain, to the point where they could actually be. Joker is a murderous psychopath, but he has at his core a sympathetic background. But the number 1 guy also has a sympathetic background to the point where you almost want to consider him to be a hero, but really and truly, what he wants to accomplish is so villainous.
Is the Punisher?
No, number one is Magneto.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Magneto. Yeah.
So good. And I think that
Yes.
what's tough for a lot of people that are going to watch this and go like, what are you talking about? How does Magneto to be number one?
World War
Because
II.
people are going to look at the version, they're going to look at the version of Magneto and think of the X-Men universe. And he is a very likable character because of his background. But really and truly, Magneto, I mean, you can understand, you can be sympathetic for his background, obviously a Holocaust survivor, but he is almost, I guess he's kind of murderous, not maybe as bad as Joker.
Not kind of. He is. If he wanted to, he could like just he could like disrupt the magnetic poles of north and south and have Earth have no gravity, and so everybody did. Yeah, he tried it once before, I think.
Yeah, you also got to take into consideration though, is I'm really surprised that she didn't make it on this list. Is one of Magneto's offspring, and that is the Scarlet Witch. But she is very much deep in
Anti-hero.
An anti-hero. But I mean, what she does in the House of M, where she basically has a mental breakdown and ends all mutant kind in the blink of an eye. But that, I mean, you got to think about it. Magneto spawned Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. So
yeah, and also, as well as Polaris too. She's now in the X-Men. Yeah, that's the second character. I don't know. That's interesting. I guess like I would say though, in the last couple of years, Joker has taken the spot of number one easily.
Oh yeah, if this list is done today,
yeah. If this list was done today, Magneto would probably would fall somewhere in the top 20 right now, specifically because a lot of other characters got up there, and a lot of those characters have stayed evil. Magneto now is probably an anti. I'll probably say he's the most neutral, chaotic neutral of the X-Men bunch right now. He's very much still for mutant kind, but he's now mixing up with Professor X of both of them saying, all right, we gotta basically have our species survive, and we're kind of just like done with playing the cool guys now. We're gonna have our own thing, have our own sovereignty, and so just that whole dynamic is different now. But it's an interesting list. It's 2009, so I can't really hate on it too much. What I was missing though was Lady Deathstrike. No,
yeah.
Lady Shiva. Not Lady Deathstrike. Lady Shiva, who was the mother of Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, and as well as possibly top 3 best martial artists in all of DC. All of DC. Like you have either like Batman's in top 3, Deathstroke's in top 3, and she's in top 3. And I'm pretty sure she has wins over both of them.
So obviously some of the surprises, in my opinion, in this list, obviously having Thanos be so high up on the list, I don't know what, 47. Obviously there'll be much controversy between the number 1 and number 2. So please, even though the list is 11 years old, please put your comments in the list below why you think Joker should be number 1 or Magneto should be number 1. Let's have a little discussion, Magneto versus Joker, because really and truly, if you think about it, those are 2 really, really good villains. Real quick, JR, from a comic book standpoint, your top 3 villains in comic book form.
I can't say top 3, but more so just my picks.
Your 3 picks.
My 3 picks. Well, of course, we had one already. And of course, we're going the last, couple of years now. Let's say 10 years. Let's say post IGN, right? Post IGN post. Yeah. Saint Killers is definitely one of them. Another one that I believe for me is Superboy Prime. Superboy Prime is basically he was part of the original Infinity Crisis back in or Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? Like way back when. Like no, he's part of the original Infinity Crisis of like the Silver Age saga, right?
Yeah.
He is a Superboy. He is Clark Kent from our world that didn't have powers, but they knew of Superman. They knew of Superman as a comic. But then a difference. But the Superman of the Silver Age saga came into his universe. Said, "Hey, we need help. Oh, I have superpowers. Crazy, right?" And so the Superboy, he helped save the universe of during that crisis, right? And he was put out, he was swept away to paradise to live happily ever after. Come to find out, in Crisis of Infinite Earths, he's lived in this paradise with the old school Golden Age Superman and Lois Lane, as well as Arthur Luther, I think, a different Lex Luthor from a different timeline. He's watching all the horrors of what the current like post-crisis world has done, right? Like they're not the superheroes of old. They haven't done anything. And he's been so twisted in his mind, thinking these aren't heroes. These guys they're killing. Wonder Woman killed somebody. Everybody's doing horrible, horrible things. These guys aren't superheroes. So he crashes through reality. He punches the reality out of existence, right? He goes back into the universe where he's basically still a child, right? Superboy, but he has no filter. The no filter Superman, and one of the first thing he does is tries to be the Superboy of that reality, and that Superboy that reality was in Teen Titans, right? He fought him. One of his first moves he done when Teen Titans came in, he backhanded a girl, right? Accidentally.
Oh, okay.
Accidentally, but he backhanded, right? And he didn't know he backhanded her, and her body was just gone.
What?
Gone. Like her top half was just dusted, gone. And his power scale is so crazy that he's killed a whole universe by himself. He went through like a great majority of the Lantern Corps by himself, where I think it's showed before now, like he's approaching the future, right? And then whoever has a Lantern ring, right, tells that they see who he is, and this character doesn't know who the hell Superboy Prime is, and so the Lantern Ring told him like, oh, it's Superboy Prime, run, you run.
Jeez.
And this is Green Lantern, you run. If it's him, you run. Granted, at the time, right, it was like during the emo phases of America, and so they saw Superboy Prime as an emo character because like his universe was destroyed and dead, and all he wanted to do was go home, right? And he kept talking about like, oh, you guys have your families, I don't, right? And people saw his emo. But yeah, Superboy Prime, man, for me, you want to talk about like just pure unadulterated carnage of a child, of a teenager, wants you to find home and like wanting to find his place in the world. To me, that's a great villain for me. Because he's a lot more nuanced than people give him credit for. They just saw him as a petulant child. But like for me, dude, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I understand. I was in that mindset as well. He's killed so many people.
Jeez.
He killed the original. He killed the original Golden Age Superman. It took the strength of Golden Age Superman and the Superman that we know today to basically kind of fend off Superboy Prime. It's like this crazy power loving skill. I got to do a whole nother podcast by itself. That's one. My best one, I guess, for me, in the last like 3 years now, is gonna be Batman Who Laughs. Easily.
And I've got to do a more read up on Dark Knight Who Laughs, because I know that's been a character that has really risen to prominence over the last 3 or 4 years.
You want to talk about like evil? If you want to think about like if it's basically if Joker, the worst opinion of Joker, had Batman's intelligence and money. Yeah. And this guy not just created it, not just destroyed his own universe, but became the king of it. He methodically killed every single one in the Justice League by himself instantly. Like he like one of the craziest things before is that he killed his own kids, right? Jeez. Because he knows that if they found out there was something wrong with him, they'll stop him. It's like, yeah, I know. So he brings out guns and starts shooting them in the Batcave, kills all of them, right? He goes to Superman, makes him take black kryptonite or some type of kryptonite, right? Where his eyes are somehow gone, and then Superman rages and makes him kill his own wife and kid. Destroys his entire universe, right? And then he becomes a herald for Thanos. No, Barbados, like the Bat God of that time. And he goes on to different universes, recruiting the evil Batman of those universes. And he has done such crazy things just in the last 2 years now. Crazy thing. And so he's definitely a mainstay. To me, I believe he's a mainstay of just the universe. Now they're changing stuff up right now, specifically with the new death metal run. I don't want to spoil stuff right now, but I'm hoping it still stays. But yeah, those are like my top. Those are my three picks: Saint Killers, which we said about,
Yeah.
Superboy Prime, and then Batman Who Laughs. I would say out of all these, though, Superboy Prime has the highest death count because he himself has killed in entire universe, and then majority of the Prime DC universe. So
See, I mean, if I were to go pick my top three villains of all time, if I got all time, I would go probably, obviously, because I got into comic books with Superman, with the death of. So I would say Doomsday, and then of course I would say Cyborg Superman because he was just scared the living crap out of me. And then I would probably go, if I had to do all time, I would probably also go with the Sentinels because I love the animated series. I enjoy the Days of Future Past storyline. But if I have to go in the post IGN, like if I have to kind of modernize that list and say my favorite three kind of last 10, 11 years comic villains, I would probably go with, oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I'd say Negan from The Walking Dead because he didn't quite make the list. And he is the personification of pure evil in the just the murderous rage that he goes into, again, spoiler alert, to kill oh my gosh, completely drew a blank on his name. Glenn. Arguably one of the most iconic but most violent frames of comic books ever written, and though I've not seen it in visual form, it is adapted word for word. Negan's monologue is adapted word for word and shot panel for panel, much like the comic book was drawn. But so yeah, I would say Negan would probably be in my top three of last 10 years. I would also go with oh my goodness, I just completely drew a blank on his name as well. He's in Thor: The Dark World as the head of the Dark Elves. Malekith. The way he's written in Jason Aaron's run of the Thor of Thor over the last 2 or 3 series, he goes from being a very third-rate comic, kind of a smart-ass villain, but then when you had the War of the Realms, he kind of led the charge into Earth and into the other realms. Again, I think a kind of an underrated villain. Trying to think of other ones in the last 10 years.
The Riddler in the last 10 years, even though he had a great run during Hush, like the way that Tom King has written him during the World of Jokes and Riddles between him and Joker, top notch, super top notch. But then last 10 years, man,
I would say think of what I've enjoyed reading.
I can go some like crazy like Image stuff, man, if you want me to. I wrote some stuff on there. Omni-Man, we talked about already. The Plutonian.
Oh yeah, I would say. I'm trying to think of off the list. See, the thing with Harley Quinn over the last, she's become such an anti-hero. She's more of the. I mean, I know she's a villain.
She's also become like a very high pivotal like pop culture. They basically kind of, I can't say they force her, but like they pivoted her to a way where like she's very much into the crowd now. Like she's very much well, she's always been like adored from the female crowd in general because it's Harley Quinn, but like now specifically because of Mark Robbie being in Suicide Squad, her popularity just raised so much in the last couple years now, incredibly so much, and that's great because Mark Robbie's awesome, but at the same time, it's kind of like cheating for me to say that that she's now high up in the villains list when like honestly her most recent popularity is because of Suicide Squad and it's because of Margot Robbie. So I can't give her like a full-on mainstay because she's more so seen now as a comic book anti-hero, specifically because of like when I forgot the recent creator's name who did the Harley Quinn book run. We met her I'm pretty sure we met her during Comic-Con, during Palm Springs
Oh my
Comic-Con.
gosh, I can't think of it now.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
gosh,
was her. It was her and her partner. They're married. No, actually, they're married. I know that his name is Paul Motti, but I forgot her name.
Yeah, I'm drawing an absolute
Yeah.
blank right now.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of a third one that I really enjoyed. I can't think of the villain's name, but I just it was so well written. And I can't remember because I can't remember the villain off the top of my head. But again, if you want to go with a really well written book, go read Deadpool versus Old Man Logan.
Mm.
Really, really underrated book. But the only
You
thing
talking about Red Skull? You talking about Red Skull?
I can't think if it was Red Skull in that book, but I will go. This is I will go with Baron Zemo in Captain America: Steve Rogers.
Mm.
I know that I don't know if it was Baron Zemo or if it was Red Skull that used the Cosmic Cube to manipulate Steve Rogers, but I know that Baron Zemo was a part of it. So I'm going to give Baron Zemo my number 3 pick. Real quick to kind of wrap up our villains talk. Your top 3 villains in the movies.
Oh, that's a tough one.
What has been adapted well, and well, you know what? I'm going to go as far as say you can pick from. It doesn't have to be from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It can be just. It doesn't have to be any kind of particular order. Just your top 3 adapted villains for the big screen.
That's tough because I think the best like character for me that's a great villain, just a great foil for the character, would Killmonger's in there easily, but he's so different from. I can't say so different, but like he's portrayed differently from his comic book counterpart.
Yeah.
But he's definitely up there. So I can't say necessarily. I'll leave him on my top 3, but I can't say as best portrayal or best adaptation of it. But he's in there. Heath Ledger is number 1.
Oh yeah, Heath Ledger. You and I will both share that one. I'll throw my name in. I'll throw my.
I would say
Joker.
I would say Joker in general. Joker number 1, whether it be Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson
It's a different version of the character.
I guess, but
it never got flushed out properly.
I'll give you that. It has been fleshed out, and I'm guessing Jared Leto was hoping to have his character fleshed out because he was gonna have his own series per se.
Yeah.
But just what the movie, the Suicide Squad movie, wasn't made better because Jared Leto's Joker, and of course Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix, top. That's Joker, top number 1. Outside Jared Leto, everyone else was great for me.
And I would say I agree with you. It's really difficult to pick a version of the Joker because you have so many different versions to pick from. Because you have in the very beginning, you have Cesar Romero version in the Batman 66. You have Mark Hamill's version in the animated series. You have Jack Nicholson's version in Jack Nicholson's version in Tim Burton's Batman. Jared Leto, Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix. Just you can't pick.
Even what's the? Have you seen Gotham, the series from Fox?
Again, another version of the character, and just creepy as all hell.
Yeah, the kid. Yeah, the original guy that played him, right? But him. What's a good character?
So another one that I would say I will.
Number 2 is Deathstroke for me from CW Arrow.
Okay, I was gonna go with the version of Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. People will say probably in the top 5 greatest superhero movies of all time.
Yeah.
The version of Doc Ock, and then I'm looking at my list. I actually have a list that I created. I want to go with the version of Thanos from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay. So good, but it's too obvious.
That's what I'm saying.
Then part of me wants to go with Kilgrave, the Purple Man from the Jessica Jones series done by David Tennant.
Yeah.
And then I want to say Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio. But
tough choices.
And then I want to say Loki, Tom Hiddleston's version of Loki, or the aforementioned Mysterio version. But I think that a lot of people don't give this character. He didn't even make the IGN top 100. He has played both a good guy and a bad guy on the big screen in comic book.
Mm-hmm.
He played for you and me. I mean, yeah, I grew up watching Batman 66, but this guy portrayed our first Batman on the big screen. He then turned around and played the villainous
Oh.
Vulture in
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming, and that is Michael Keaton's Vulture. So underrated. Again, I'll give you real quick my list of MCU villains. This is just for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This includes the Netflix, the TV shows.
Mm.
Thanos is my number 1, Killgrave's number 2, Wilson Fisk number 3, Loki, Mysterio, Vulture. Going off the deep end on this one, Grant Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was so good. Baron Zemo number 8, Obadiah Stane number 9, and then I really haven't found a number 10. It could be a lot of different things. Killmonger I know is very popular. I enjoyed Cottonmouth. I enjoyed Ultron done by James Spader. But yeah, those are my favorites. I also liked Lucifer from the CW Arrowverse, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that is our villains. Let us know what your favorite villain is from comic book, TV, and movie is. Put it in the comments below. Shoot us a comment on our social media when we post this. Do you have time for an old flex pull? Or do you got anything?
I kind of do, man, but it might take longer. And also, Amanda Connor. Harley Quinn, Amanda Connor.
That's it. Amanda Connor.
There you go. Yeah.
So good.
I know it's a weird tangent to have on, but then the current run of Harley Quinn, this movie is based off Amanda Connor's Harley Quinn. So
real quick, got a mail call. We'll just go rapid fire here. SDCC at home exclusive Lola issue number 6 hasn't even hit the newsstand yet. This comes out on Wednesday of this week. Done by Sia Oum. Great cover there. Got some back issues from the Comic-Con deals. Sketch variant from, I think this was from volume 2. This is cover 1, issue number 1, cover A from Sia Oum's first full run of Lola. Then this is the Lola Wasteland Madam. This is actually the first, technically the very first issue of Lola, cover A, issue number 1. I know it's kind of dark in here, but cool cover by Sia. Got some more variants and some more back issues of Lola. Number 4 of Wasteland Madam. This right here, kind of what my Gwenpool sketch was based on from last year, the Lola cover. And then another volume 1 of Lola. So there's my mail call. Shout out to Aspen Comics. Great week. Also got a pull list. Got a little shout out to oh my gosh, Comic Asylum. Speaking of Negan Lives, second print, one shots. I already did.
Oh, they saw the 1 per store variant already? Dang it.
Yeah.
No, there was a bronze variant that came out. It was 1 per store.
I thought you got it.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's gone.
I don't know if did they sell it already or did they
it's
have
gone. They had it. It's gone. I thought you got it.
Dude, it has to. I was there that Wednesday.
Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I thought they said they got it. And I thought they said they sold it. I thought you got it. J. Scott Campbell cover, Black Cat number 12. Good to see Campbell doing a regular run. Did I grab the right? Let me look at this going, wait a minute. This isn't looking at my pull list. It is. Captain America number 21. Tanahashi Coach's run with Cap coming to a close. Horizon Zero Dawn, new run from Titan Comics. Stanley Lau, Art Germ cover A. Kind of a cool cover. Transformers, My Little Ponies, Friendship in Disguise, issue number 1.
Of course you'd have that.
It's actually for, I got 3 copies. I got one for my daughter, one for my son, and then maybe one for my wife. I might keep one. Speaking of Art Germ, Catwoman number 96.
That's Art Germ?
Yeah.
I thought it was Matina.
You know what? You're right. It is a Matina.
Yeah, I thought it was Matina. I know Art Germ is doing a cover.
Wait, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, Art Germ is doing the Wonder Woman cover.
This is no, you know what it is? This is a Middleton.
That's Middleton?
I think it might be Middleton.
Let me see. I've never seen Middleton do darks like that before. That looks like Matina, man, but okay.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I thought it was a cool cover.
Okay, yeah.
It does not. It's definitely not Art Germ. I looked again. It does not have the Art Germ signature on it.
Yeah.
We'll have more information about this next week, probably.
Eventually, yeah.
And of course, I thought this was a bitchin' cover. This is Empire number 4. It is the Robbie Reyes.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider on that.
Good cover.
Shout out again to Comic Asylum. Shout out to Aspen Comics. It was a great week. And hopefully JR can get his hands on that bronze.
Oh, I'll probably gotta look at it. I'm gonna ask them if they still have it, but if anything, they were probably gonna send to CGC. But then, yeah, I was over there recently. I just have some cool stuff. I could probably show you my highlights of it.
All right, go ahead.
This is a Thor 4. This is a Thor 5 second print. It's already like $30 on eBay right now.
Oh yeah,
or
all the Thor books right now are going crazy.
This is Thor 4 second print, right? And it's funny to bring up Horizon. I got the gold cover. I got the gold variant.
Nice.
From them. A funny story. I was gonna pick up the other variant that was there as well, but there was another pull list member that was there. She was looking at it too, right? And she was like, I don't know if I want to buy it or not. I kind of want to, but she had all the other variants for there. And I'm like, I don't want to be a dick and buy it off there, right? Because she's like, oh, if it's still here, I'll buy it, right? Because I don't want to be that guy that says, well, it's not gonna be here because I'm gonna take it, right? And then before I did that, she was with her boyfriend or somebody was. She was always. It's I don't want to say her name on the podcast. I don't know if she wants her name out there, but she's there regularly. And then she had her boyfriend there, and he bought the variant, right? And so I'm like, cool, whatever. And then from Comic Con as well.
Nice.
Joker Hunter, first print Joker Hunter. I think that book's gonna be big. And then eBay, off the bay, Star 1 out of 500 variant.
Oh, the Virgin variant.
Yeah, Virgin variant Campbell.
That one was I was trying to get my hands on that one, but it just that price went through the roof. It's a cool cover. Very, I know most people will say it's very much the epitome of Campbell, but
Campbell style. Yeah,
Campbell style.
I got it for a good price. I'll say that. I have my resources to find stuff on a good price. But yeah. But other than that, I had some more stuff. If anything, I was gonna say, can we possibly do just to maybe give you guys what to look forward to next week? Can we possibly do a things to send to CGC podcast?
Done. I like it. We'll do it as a follow-up to I think it was our episode 2, which was our collectors episode where we kind of talked about like the do's and don'ts of collecting. Let's do it. Let's do our we'll do a CGC episode. We'll bust out the long boxes, things that what to look for CGC. We'll just do it dedicated. Maybe we'll keep the episode a little tight. This one ran long. But we're talking about villains. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, you can't do heroes without a good villain. Yeah. And if there were a villain, I mean, let's face it, I'd be the hero. JR would be the villain. He's got the name already. He's the Dark King.
Easily. And then I'll be some type of anti-hero somewhere in the next whatever it makes it be.
Yeah, because Donnie Cates would write your story, and you'd all of a sudden become an anti-hero.
You're damn right.
Knowing my luck, I'd get Brian Michael Bendis.
Let's go.
Forget it. If we end on that, if someone's writing our book, Donnie Cates is writing JR, I'm getting stuck with Bendis. So,
oh man. Okay, so you're gonna have so many other characters just out of nowhere just pop up, and you're gonna be in the background for the next 30 issues. You're gonna be in space for the next year and a half, bro, and some awesome spunky African American or mixed character is gonna be in there taking the spotlight for a good 2-3 months, man.
Well, we appreciate everyone following us on this video. This has been a long one. This is probably the longest episode we've done, so you're probably going to enjoy this one in audio form, which don't forget.
Here's hoping.
Here's hoping. You can actually, again, we mentioned it at the top of the show, you can actually find us on multiple different podcast platforms. Let me give them to you here. First and foremost, you can find us on Anchor. You can find us by downloading the Anchor app. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify. You can also find us now on Google Podcasts. I will say, we are efforting our friends at iHeartRadio to put us on their podcast platform. I looked into SoundCloud. I know some people still use SoundCloud for audio sharing and whatnot. It just didn't mesh. I tried working on it last night. As always, you can find us right here on YouTube. And again, it's easier to watch and follow us if you have a YouTube premium subscription. Guys, if you do follow us on any podcast platform, please, please, please give us a 5-star like, give us a comment and review down below. Give us a subscribe. Same thing here on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, give us the ring the little
that
bell.
bell, guys. Ring that bell.
Heck yeah, ring that bell. And it has nothing to do necessarily with the financial side of it. It has to do with the fact that we can bring more stuff as we grow our audience. He is JR Kambakungan, the Dark King. You can find him at also
Not JR Comics 42 on Instagram. Still working on this stuff, guys. It's been kind of a grog. My last couple months or so now has been just kind of weird.
His D&D obsession is finding first light. I am the voice of reason. You can find me on social media at Voice of Reason 23. Kevin Pillow is the name. You can find us as a show on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at PS Comics I Love You. With the exception of Twitter, it's PS Comics I Love the letter U. Again, like us, follow us, stalk us, whatever it is you got to do to get information. We look forward to it. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
We enjoyed talking villains on this episode. We will see you next week talking about all things CGC.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Later.